This is my least favorite barroom show. Dan is a fat, know-nothing liberal. And Aldo and his family are Puerto Ricans who don't pay taxes. But I watch because of John. I love John. I'm going to win Iowa because of John. Until John is on, I'll take a nap.
Put the children to bed. It's time for Dan and Aldo to bare their souls.
I love the Chicago Bears more than I do masturbating, and that is a lot.
Then, with 3 seconds left, Bob Avellini throws a 30-something-yard touchdown pass to Greg Latta, and the Bears win, and I literally shit my pants. I swear to God, I literally did.
Eric Kramer, for me, I love the guy. He's a tragic figure. I mean, he embodies all that is.
If they don't run the ball here, I'm going to vomit. I swear to God.
Look, I don't mean any disrespect. He just didn't play that well. Not for a guy of his caliber.
You know, they won, but I'm going to be miserable all week because they stunk.
I don't really have any recollection of that at all, but I guess perhaps I blacked it all out.
So, Dan, tape is the ultimate tool for scouts and for coaches to evaluate players, to detect plays and so forth. And they spend hours looking at tape, right? Why do they so often get shit wrong?
I love the efficiency of bourbon.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dan and
Oh, yeah. I'm having all sorts of technical issues here to start the show, but that's not going to stop us from celebrating one of the greatest drafts in Bears history. Maybe the greatest. Who knows? Maybe it'll be better than Butkus and Sayers. We have a lot to celebrate, and my man, Dan Aguirre, is here to help with the celebration. Dan, how are you, my friend?
I'm well. I'm so glad you're still with us. I don't mean like we thought you were dying. I meant like your vacation's coming up. So I'm glad you're here for the post-draft. You know, I was thinking as the intro was on, the reason I love working on this show with you and working with John, and the reason that if I weren't on the show, the reason I would love this show is that we're not these blowhards. And this is not, I'm not talking about anybody specific, but we're not here to tell you we know more than everybody else and we're smarter than everybody else or we're dumber than everybody. We're just telling you we're fans and we're excited. Like you said, the draft on paper, all those picks look great to me. Even the fucking punter looks great to me. And I can tell you why if you want to know. But I'm just saying, we're not here to tell you we're experts. We're here to tell you we're Bears fans. And to me, as a Bears fan, I like other Bears fans. I don't want people telling me I'm stupid and shit like that, you know, just because they don't like my opinion or, you know, I mean, there's people like that everywhere. And I'm not calling out anyone specific. I'm not on a soapbox. I'm just saying I like working with us because we'll tell you we think the draft was great, but we don't know.
I agree 100% with you. I'm turned off a little bit when people on social media or in some podcasts, you know, make the average Bears fan feel like an idiot because they've studied hours and hours of tape and we haven't. We look at the highlights. We talk amongst each other. We look at the mass media programs and we're just average fans. We don't have the time or are we prepared to? I mean, I've watched film before. But after a couple of minutes, I'm saying to myself, I don't really know what the fuck I'm watching here.
Exactly.
So I can learn. I want to learn, but I got to go fucking do this. I got to do that. I got to do this. And so it's a huge
I don't want to learn. I don't want to learn
really?
Because this is my passion in terms of like what I do for fun. Mm-hmm. Like this isn't my job. Like, I don't want the Bears to feel like a job, ever. I want it to feel like it's fucking fun. Even when they're losing, it sucks. I'm going through agony and all that. But it still feels like fun.
Yes.
Like that's like when I was in college, I was broadcasting college football games at the small university I was at. And I decided after a year of that I didn't like it. I was like, God, this is making football work. Football is supposed to be fun. I don't want to have to memorize formations and stuff and know everything all the time. I think this is fun.
Yeah. There's a show called The Tape Always Lies or something like that. Phil and Shane, who used to work here.
I wasn't referencing them. I swear to God. I swear on my mom's grave, I wasn't talking about them.
But the thing is they're very well known for degrading, other fans and so forth because they watch the tape and stuff. But they're often wrong too, and even the professionals who get paid millions of dollars to look at tape and to analyze on television and so forth, they get it wrong just as often as you and I get it wrong. And so, we got to take everything with a grain of salt. You can be well informed and a Bears fan, and you can be medium informed and be a Bears fan, or you could be not informed. I've got a lot of family members who will get together and they'll share opinions about the Bears and say, like I told you about my brother-in-law. The season after Brian Urlacher left the Bears, he was incensed. We're at Soldier Field watching the game, and for 10, 15 minutes, he's in my ear. We need Urlacher. I don't know why we let Urlacher, but I'm like, he couldn't run anymore.
He can't walk. He's on a cane, for God's sake.
That's right. But, it's about being tolerant of other people's opinions, and I hope that people are tolerant of mine. You don't have to be, but it makes for a good world when people are tolerant of diverse opinions.
I agree. And again, I swear I wasn't taking any shots at them specifically or anybody else. I was just thinking when the intro was on, I was like, man, it's good to talk with you. And I was on with the other Dan last night, first time in forever. Just
How did that
talking.
go?
Oh, it was great. It was so fun. It was like I had to cut it off. I was like, dude, I got to go to work. I'm sorry. It felt like we had just started. And just talking to other fans is great. Like I don't even want to talk bad about a specific guest we had recently. Because I know how hard it is for you to get booked. I don't want to make you pissed off because I know you work hard getting our guests and stuff. But the one guy was like, you're a kid, you're young, and you're not from Chicago. Like, this is so cunt. I mean, I just let it go. But that's an example. Like, I don't want to make anyone else feel like they have to like measure their dicks to show that they're real Bears fans,
That's another thing that bothers me, and one that I've learned since opening up the bar room. And I would see the analytics as to who's listening to us, and there's like 16 people in Vietnam who are listening to our audio podcast, and there's 32 in Yemen, and there's like,
wow.
What the hell? Yeah, so I grew to appreciate the fact that Bears fans don't have to be from Chicago. I've always said I am a devoted Bears fan because I grew up in Chicago, but you don't have to be. You don't have to. And Dan, you're a perfect example. You didn't grow up in Chicago, and you love the Bears so much that you've gone out already and bought 4 Caleb Williams jerseys.
That's because I'm dumb. That's because I'm dumb and gullible.
4, I tell you. 4. What colors? I mean, you bought every color imaginable, right?
Yeah, the opening night after the draft, I bought navy and white. Mm-hmm. And then about 6 hours later, I just was looking again because it came out that Fanatics said that Caleb Williams' jersey sales was the number one, the most ever sought after a draft of any player in any sport. So I looked, and the orange one only had 8 jerseys available. Like they had sold all but 8. So I was like, I better get the orange one. So I bought the orange one. So now I've bought 3. Now keep in mind, they didn't have the 1930s one on there yet. So last night I'm talking to Dan. I was like, I wonder if the orange ones are back in stock. So I go to look, and they aren't, but suddenly the 30s one was there. I was like, they're selling the 30s one now. I was like, am I going to be the dumb cuck that buys this one too? And I was. Yes. Live on air, I bought the other jersey.
That is wild. That is wild. Well, I've blamed you before when you've bought some jerseys, but in this case, it's hard to blame you because there is a certain excitement, not only in Chicago, but through the NFL globe, about what the Chicago Bears are building here. And I just want to, if I were to meet Ryan Poles, I would shake his hand in a way where he would think that I want to have sex with him. because I've been an advocate for his style of general managership for about 10, 15 years. You know, I used to say to Phil and Shane and Jose Cotto and Lauren Cox, and I don't, you know, and they didn't even respond to the times when I would say this. So I don't know if they understood, but I always said there is just this team, this Bears team doesn't have an identity because they're just slopping players on and continuing the misery. They don't have anybody with a vision that says, okay, we're going to start here, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And Poles has done it brilliantly. And Justin Fields, unfortunately, was the main victim of that. And I know a lot of people are saying, but the guy can't play, so who cares? Well, I believe that if he would have had the weapons that Caleb has now, he probably would have played a lot better. Maybe still not good enough to win playoff games, but a lot better. But nonetheless, my point is that Poles just meticulously built this team from nothing. He got rid of all the mess that the team had and then built together a team that could very possibly be in the playoffs and be vying for a Super Bowl championship. And there's a pinch of hyperbole there, but why not? Like Dan and I said at the beginning of the show, we're fucking fans. We should be hoping and praying that they're going to make the playoffs. It's not out of the question. So Ryan Poles, thank you very much for doing it the right way. We have the possibility now of having a team that's not only going to be in the playoffs this season, but could potentially be in the playoffs 9 out of 10 in the next 10 years, 15 out of the next 20 years. I'll take that. 15 chances in 20 years to make it to the Super Bowl? Fucking A, man. I am so happy with that guy. And he gave credit to Ian Cunningham, so kudos to him. He basically said, when I start thinking about, trading back in here and trading and deviating from the plan, Ian will hold me back. That's a great combo. That's Batman and Robin. That's, maybe some other great superhero duels. I fucking love it.
I do. I do too. I like what you said. I can't remember who tweeted this. It was right after the draft. It was like they were happy about Caleb Williams, but they were saying something like, we knew the Bears, or they said it in past tense, I think. We knew the Bears weren't going to win the Super Bowl in 2024, but it's not about 2024. It's about winning Super Bowls in 2026 and 2020. Like, what? I mean, again, like you said, they have a good enough team on paper, which doesn't mean anything on paper, but still, on paper, a good enough team to make the playoffs. If you make the playoffs, then why not make it to the Super Bowl?
No shit.
There have been, for years, there was only a couple of wild card teams that had done it. And then for years, no one that was like the 6th seed could do it. And all that's been, done now. Everything. If you get hot, you can win. Look at the Giants with Eli both times.
Exactly.
9 and 7.
By the way, first of all, I want to ask you this. Demand says, I need a new Bears jersey. My last one was Julius Peppers.
Wow.
So what would you suggest for Demand? Which player? I know you got Caleb.
I went for Caleb.
Let's say outside of Caleb, I think Rome Odunze is a good bet. I think this guy is going to be with the Bears for, he'll get a new contract. He'll be with the Bears for at least 7-8 years and maybe his entire career. I think this guy's going to be a stud. Would you suggest Odunze?
Well, I hope so. I don't know. I don't watch college, so I don't know much about him. I'm rooting for him. But if money was no object and I could just buy another one that was not, I would get Sweat.
Yeah. That's a nice
big 98. That's who I'd go for next. But he's going to be, if we're going to go where we want to go, he's going to be a big part of that.
Absolutely. Cliff says he wants that Crocodile Dundee punter that we got. We're going to talk about Torrey Taylor. By the way, if you get Taylor's jersey and DeAndre Swift's jersey, your girl can wear Swift while you wear Taylor, and both of you can be Taylor Swift.
Oh, no.
I didn't think you'd like that. She probably wouldn't either.
No.
All right. Well, where were we going? I forgot where we were going. Fuck it. Go somewhere else. I just am really, really fucking crazy about the possibilities of this team. And so is the national media. Let's start with the offense. I cut together about 4.5 minutes of the national media talking about this Bears offense. I want to share it with you guys.
Good.
We expect him to have a C.J. Stroud-like impact in Chicago immediately. Yeah, I could see that, Greeny. I think that this team in Chicago is going to be playing meaningful games in December, and I think the expectations for both individual performance and team success is the highest it's been for a #1 quarterback since the Colts took Andrew Luck.
Greeny, we had Caleb Williams on our set for ESPN Radio. He talked about the story about when he won the Heisman, he insisted on having those 5 offensive linemen with him. That really bodes well for selfless leadership, which is what he's going to need because the expectations are through the roof, like Dano just said. So when he hits the bump in the road, hopefully that leadership will carry the day because that, to me, is the only thing that can stop this team is sort of dealing with those bumps in the road and whether or not he has the resiliency to deal with it.
You can think what you want to think about Caleb Williams. I've spent some time around this guy. His teammates generally really like him.
When he won the Heisman, he insisted on having those 5 offensive linemen with him. That really bodes well for selfless leadership, which is what he's going to need because the expectations are through the roof, like Dano just said. So when he hits the bump in the road, hopefully that leadership will carry the day because that, to me, is the only thing that can stop this team is sort of dealing with those bumps in the road and whether or not he has the resiliency to deal with it.
The other piece, if you watch the Bears offense last year, and I had them twice on Thursday night, you know that they went out and hired a new offensive coordinator in Shane Waldron. You get your quarterback. You lose Darnell Mooney. They needed receivers. Even though they have Keenan Allen coming in, they still need, I think, a difference maker that they feel really good about. And I think that this, and I know you have more there, so you've got some guys now. You got some pieces. Right. I don't know if Justin Fields really ever had all of those pieces. And how great is it for Odunze to learn under Keenan Allen to be able to learn how to become really a professional. And this guy, what you're getting is not just a guy at 6'3", 212, runs a 4.3, ridiculous ball skills downfield. If you saw him being interviewed and you watch his attitude, you're getting a guy that's going to come in that's humble, that wants to work, that eventually he'll be maybe a captain for this team. So you're getting a total package, an intangible guy that I think brings a lot more than just, hey, he's really big and he's really fast and he wins contested catches. This guy, of all the guys I sat down with and talked with to get ready in these production meetings, every time we'd walk out, I'd hit Fowler and I'd be like, man, that guy just locked in, just a mature guy that just kind of gets it. So I can see why they went out and picked him.
The details. What are we getting in Keenan Allen?
Well, he's a third down machine. So he's still, I haven't seen any drop off. I've called every Charger game for the last 6 years, and I haven't seen any drop off in terms of his quickness. He's incredibly smart. So, the Chargers have had smart quarterbacks there. Rivers is really bright. Herbert's really bright. And you just have a trust there that he's going to see the right things, do the right things, be where he needs to be. He's not going to be super explosive. His 100-yard games, which there'll be a bunch of them, are going to come via 10 catches, 8 catches. He's not going to have those 3-4 catch games for 100+ yards. That's not the style he is. But man, as you guys know, man, for a young quarterback, walking in and knowing I've got baked-in layups, this guy's going to give you baked-in layups. Just let him run option routes on third down. You can live with that.
The Chicago Bears have agreed to terms with running back DeAndre Swift.
Do I like that move for the Chicago Bears? Of course I do. I mean, DeAndre Swift they're a team, they want to run the football. They got a good, powerful offensive line, right? I don't think they're looking to go into, we're going to shotgun throw the ball every play with Caleb Williams. And Swift, I mean, we saw what he does last year. And that Eagles offense, what they had, a big, powerful offensive line that, again, I told you a million times during the year, kind of a basic run attack. I think he'll see something here that's a little more, I don't want to say exotic, but have more schematical run plays to go along with it. You watch Swift those years in Detroit. I mean, he hits the hole hard. He runs hard. He's still pretty explosive. He's not going to go 80 yards to the house, but he can make a lot of great 30 and 40-yard runs, right? Yeah. So from that standpoint and what they got there off of that already, that's going to be a handful dealing with that Chicago offense.
The Chicago Bears roster, in my mind, at least offensively in the NFC, third at worst. I like the Eagles. I like the Niners. And then I'm looking at the Chicago Bears, and there is nobody I would take over them. I would take some teams alongside them, the Detroit Lions, but there aren't too many teams that I would take over them. And then defensively, after Week 10, the Bears were number 1 as it pertains to total defense. So you got a top 5 defense. Let's not assume they'll be number 1. Let's give you a more humble expectation. You got a top 5 defense, and then you have an offense that all of us would take very early on. And even you, if you don't know the roster, turn on your Madden video game, look who they got out there, and then you're probably going to want to play with that squad.
Now it's Caleb's team. And Rome with DJ Moore and the weapons they have, boy, I'll tell you what, if you're a Bears fan, Dano, it's time to get excited.
Pretty awesome, isn't that? I gotta tell you, just what 5-6 months ago we were the laughing stock of the NFL, and now listen to the national media talk about us.
Yeah, even when we got Fields and it felt so exciting, you know, there was always someone like Chris Sims that would come out and be like, "Oh, I don't think he's any good." You know, so it's always someone ready to piss on our enthusiasm or take a big shit on us, you know, but it doesn't feel like that's happening right now. Everyone seems to have bought in, and that's exciting. When's the last time you felt that as a Bears fan? Maybe 2006, when they were like, "Oh, this defense is for real. They have a shot," you know?
You know, I in 2019, after that failed playoff.
Oh, yeah.
I did have hope that Nagy was going to get better as a head coach and that Trubisky was going to get better on the offense, but they regressed so much. And, you know, and I think it was Phil. Give Phil some credit. Back then we were still together with the Bears Barroom. He called it out. He said, this guy doesn't know how to call plays. And as being a Bears fan, I would say, fuck you. You don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. But on that point, he was definitely right.
Tooch as well.
Tooch, exactly. Tooch was very observant on that. And, you know, I don't know much about play calling. I just want to see touchdowns being scored. I want to see innovative play calling, unpredictable play calling. I can spot trends and I can see what's going on. But, you know, there are better minds than me that can tell you, well, they should run a slant here, a Y pattern there, or whatever the fuck. I'm like Dan in that regard. I don't care. Will it score us some points? That's what I want.
How many times did Matt Nagy run the shovel pass to the tight end? That little flip to Trey Burton? God damn, I hated that play.
Mm-hmm.
You ran it like 3 times a game.
Yeah, and it rarely worked. And so you got to ask yourself, why are you continually, you know, it was just with the bubble screens too, rarely worked. What is going on here? Do you not have the players to run these plays? Then run it out of the fucking eyes. That's predictable too, but that's the play that we kept seeing work over and over again with the Bears.
And he wouldn't stick to it because of his ego. He said, I wasn't brought here to run the I formation.
Yep. Times have changed. What do you think now about Matt Eberflus? What kind of a leash are you giving him? He seems to have all the players he needs, with one exception. He does need another pass rusher, and the Bears will probably sign a veteran free agent like Yannick Ngakoue or try to find somebody else. But aside from that, you know, do you think that even with Caleb as a rookie, he definitely has to deliver a winning record?
I don't know. If he's horrible, if he gets off to a start like last season, he's going to be on the hot seat quick.
Yeah.
But if they're mediocre, I think he'll survive. If he's 9-8, I think he survives.
Yeah,
until
9-8. I give you that. If it's a losing record, though, there's just going to be so many questions by Bears fans. And of course, I always say, what are the quality of the wins and what are the quality of the losses? You know, are you losing against really good teams? You know, the teams that are on paper better than you. I can kind of forgive that because the team is still rebuilding. But if you're losing to teams that you know you should beat, that's the worst thing. It's the worst thing for the players, and it feels even worse for us fans. You know, we know we should beat this fucking team, and yet, you know, we're not beating them. That is a fucking dagger to the heart every single time.
I know he's a defensive-minded coach. We all know that. But if for some reason the Bears have a disappointing season, but Caleb is doing great, or it looks like he's up, like he's ascending, that'll save his job too, in my opinion. If for some reason they're fucking around and it looks like Caleb is struggling and like Justin's balling in Pittsburgh or something like that, I think that could get him fired more than anything. If they've mishandled his growth, that will be what gets him fired more than losing, in my opinion.
Absolutely. He failed with bringing in Luke Getsy, a rookie offensive coordinator, play caller, who could not effectively utilize Justin Fields' talents. Justin Fields always played better when he didn't do what Luke Getsy told him to do. Not to say that Fields didn't learn some shit from Getsy, but it was clear that he was more of a street ball player than he was a timing passer, and Getsy should have used him that way instead of trying to turn him into an Aaron Rodgers or a traditional drop back passer. Matthew Forchisi asked the question, is Flus the head coach to steer this locomotive? That's the $64,000 question, to use an old cliche. He has to prove that the players will always play hard for him, which they did for the most part, right? These last 2 seasons. Would you agree with that, Dan?
Yes, especially when they had such a poor start. And then they were battling potentially for playoffs toward the end. So that was, and the defense got better as he started to call the plays, if you recall, after the scandal with Alan Williams. So I think that boasted well. That kind of is why he saved his job, I think.
Hugh says Flus was outcoached in most games last season. He's a culture and defensive coordinator guy. That's it. I think Hugh, I think you're right to be skeptical of him because, you look at the 1-loss record and you can definitely tell. And you look at him behind the podium, he just sounds like a culture guy, he's like a cookie cutter coach and stuff. My hope, and it's plain hope, I haven't seen much evidence I got a nice compliment on my hat, so that distracted me. But I think that he can grow into the job. Everybody grows into their job. I think back at the jobs that I had when I was first hired here or first hired there. People were thinking, why did we hire this guy? Oh, he's a light-skinned Puerto Rican. We can scratch that off of the reports we got to hand in. But I got better as time went on because I was determined to get better. And so hopefully Flus will get better as a head coach for the entire team. And I think, I'm hoping, I should say, I won't say that I'm not incredibly confident. I think that he can. I hope that he can become a better coach. We'll see. We'll just see. Yes, and the power of polls definitely compels you, me, Dan, everybody, because I think, again, this guy has made a phenomenal done a phenomenal rebuild. I remember now what I was going to talk about. During the Bears, the draft, day 1, day 2 coverage here on the Barroom, which I'm cutting together a highlight package so that people can see how Danny and Jordan and John Buffone and myself and some of our guests reacted to the draft picks. So you don't have to sift through 16 hours of coverage that we had. But there was a moment where I got really angry with Danny, and it's because he reflected an opinion that I think a lot of Bears fans do that I'm really tired of. And Dan, I want your opinion on this. Danny was saying, well, the jury's still on Ryan Poles because he hasn't got a pass rusher. And then another time he said, why didn't he get all these weapons for Justin Fields? And on. There was, he was praising Poles on one hand, but he was knocking him down or questioning, why he hadn't done this or done that. And I just feel like you're missing the whole point of the rebuild. The rebuild is a construction, just like your house. It's like you're building something. You don't expect, all right, the bedrooms are done, after 1 week, we can all go sleep upstairs. No, it takes time. And you only have so many resources. So look back at Ryan Poles' first season, Dan. He got rid of a lot of players, a lot of veteran players. Khalil Mack. He basically tried to bottom out the salary cap so that in the following year he could then go after high-priced free agents or a year later. He inherited the job with no first-round draft pick, and so he was devoid of resources. So he had to build up the resources in order to come back and draft a Caleb Williams and draft a Odunze and draft some of these other players. I just think that for so many fans, we're all like this in life. You know, we expect instant gratification. Oh, we got a new GM. Well, we'll see how he does this first year. Oh, he's just as bad or worse than the last guy. But people don't understand the process involved, and that this was a meticulous process. It's like you and I disagreed on Cole Kmet, and I would tell you, give him time. He's
You're right. You were right.
So it's the same thing with Poles. And so I ask everybody, you know, now, year 3, now is the time to start saying, okay, I need to see some fucking improvement. Even with the rookies, you know, when you get 2 of the top 10 rookies in the draft, and even Danny said it, he was ecstatic when Odunze was drafted, because Danny said, we got 2 of the top 3 players on his draft board. Now we should start to see these rookies contribute instantly, maybe not perfectly. They're going to get better and better with each year, but they should start contributing now, and the Bears should start winning some games and beating the fuck out of some of these teams. What do you think?
Let's go back to 2022. I know everyone's going to fault him now for the trade, but I think at the time when he traded for Claypool, it was an aggressive move. Mm-hmm. And I think at the time he was thinking, all right, if we can trade for this kid from Pittsburgh and suddenly we have an explosive receiver, we can maybe try to take a run at it now.
Mm-hmm.
When that doesn't work, toward the latter stages of the season, they clearly tanked.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because Justin was starting to play so well during that run, he at least took a swing.
Yes.
It's not like in week 5, he was like, all right, we're going to try to win 2 games this year. It just, he saw the writing on the wall when it ended up not being a great trade.
Mm-hmm.
But he was aggressive with it. And I'll move on to 23. But first, I'll recall us being at that Vikings game at the end of the season in 2022, or January of 23. I'm sorry, let me get a drink of my soda.
Sure.
And I remember thinking, man, I don't want the season to end, even though it was so dreadful. They'd only won 3 games. I looked at the clock. I was like, look at that, man. It's 3 minutes left in our season. We won't get another one of these games until September, you know. And both of us are there watching them tank when they took out, you know, and put that bum quarterback in. But again, that was after he made a move. He traded Roquan because Roquan was loafing in that Dallas game. Obviously, they didn't get along. He didn't want to be here. So, again, he made a move he had to make. And then last year, some midway through it, when they look like they're crawling out of the sewer that the beginning of the season was, he traded for Sweat.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked. And they missed the playoffs ultimately because of Darnell Mooney's drop against the Browns. If he catches that, they probably make the playoffs.
Right.
So my point is, it's not like he just shipped both seasons away. We didn't make it, but he was trying. He was taking swings, man.
Mm-hmm. I was watching a little bit of Adam Rank's podcast, and he compared it. He had a number of analogies. He's Mr. Analogy. It's sort of like this. It's sort of like that. But he basically complained, you know, saying Paul McCartney didn't always write a hit song. You know, this person never batted 1,000 and stuff like that. And that's the same thing with football general managers. It's impossible to hit on every player you draft or every trade that you make. And right now, the guy appears to have a pretty strong record for success if these draft picks work, these 2 draft picks in particular, but even Torrey Taylor, that one has to hit too. You know, Greg Gabriel was not a big fan of it, saying, you know, college football players have a bigger, fatter ball. It's easier to punt. They got the shield in front of them, 3 guys blocking, and that's not allowed in the NFL. And so he's a little wary that, you know, maybe that was picked too high. But I think, and I'll turn it over to you because you said you were happy about that pick. The one thing is I'm happy about it because he's a field flipper. He's going to punt as well as he did in college. I just feel it. But what are your thoughts on Taylor?
Can I answer it with Gill first?
Sure.
The current punter, no longer the punter when the summer rolls around, Trenton Gill, who we drafted as well, I think in round 7 a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Gill averaged exactly 38.0 net yards per punt last season. That was dead last in the National Football League. His 11.9% touchback rate was tied for the 3rd worst, and then 26.9% of his punts only 26.9% of his punts went inside the 20 or the coffin corner.
Mm-hmm.
So he was terrible at touchbacks. He was terrible at pinning people deep, and the average punt was only 38 yards. I mean, this guy was terrible. He was a big problem. You could rewind our tapes. There are various points of last season where we were bitching about Trenton Gill, but it's not as big as, are we trading Roquan or are we keeping Justin? All these other stories we've had the 2 years, but like this guy's been a problem. Like I hate to say it. I mean, it's nothing personal.
No, you're right. Yeah.
He's been bad. Now, conversely, the kid they drafted, he was averaging 46.3 yards per kick in college over his career, 4,479 total punt yards in 2023. That's the best of all time in college football. He had 32 punts inside the 20-yard line last season, and his punts led to 29 fair catches. So we're talking about a guy that's getting it done. And you know who Raymond Guy was, of course, from the Raiders, who's universally thought of by, well, I don't know the younger generation. They don't know history. They don't know anything, man. So I don't mean to be condescending, but they're like, you know, if you mention like Super Bowl 5 or something, their first one was like Super Bowl 40. They don't care about the history. But anyone that watched football for a long time, Ray Guy was universally thought of as the best punter of all time. That's why he got into the Hall of Fame, despite being a punter. And well, this guy won the Ray Guy Award for the best punter in the nation.
Yeah.
All last season. No, so you juxtapose his accomplishments with this other guy who's been shitty for 2 years. How can you not be excited?
Yep. He's I love that. Demond says Tory Taylor has a mortar for a leg. Yeah, he's got a super strong leg. He's an Australian guy, so he didn't start playing football until he got to the States. But the thing about him is, I was at the Senior Bowl like 4 years ago, and Danny would always make fun of you. Why are you over there looking at the punters? And I'm like, because I'm always looking for a punter, a field goal kicker for the Bears. Those guys are valuable. And there was a guy named Wisniewski who was a European or Australian too. And this guy was fucking doing some crazy punts, you know, making the ball go from right to left like a golfer, you know, working on the slice or the fade or whatever. And so Poles describes this guy, Tory Taylor, as the same way, that he does magic with ball movement, and he's got a way of kicking where he can make the ball stick. Like when you play golf, if you use a wedge or a 9-iron or whatever, you can get the ball to stop on the green and with no spin. And this guy, Tory Taylor, has mastered that. So in terms of pinning guys inside the 10-yard line or whatever, he was number one in college football at that stat. And so that's what you need, especially, you know, when you have a rookie quarterback, you want to give him short fields to work with. Give him the ball on the 50, on the 40, because the defense held after that great punt, and now the quarterback is working with half the field, scores a touchdown, gets his confidence up, the offense starts rolling, and you're blowing teams away. So I too like that pick. You know, there were some people that criticized it the 4th round, but if you have taken the time, and one of the things that Poe said before the draft, Ian and I spent hours looking at the board and moving this player here. Well, this player could really help us here because of that position value. They did that. And so when that pick came up, that was the name at the top of their board, Tory Taylor. And if you're saying in polls we trust, then you have to trust that was the best player for this time at that time of the draft. And luckily, in the 5th round, where a lot of people were upset we didn't get Austin Booker. Austin Booker was available. Guess what? He was there in the 5th round, and this guy looks like he could potentially be a pass rushing specialist. Just some highlights of him here, Dan. I don't know if you've seen any of these stuff, but the guy hits. He's got those long arms that Matt Eberflus loves. He is just spying on quarterbacks. Look at those long limbs on this guy. He needs to still get an NFL body in terms of strength. But this guy's going to be a specialist on pass rushing. They're going to bring him in on 3rd and long, and he's going to go hunting for quarterbacks. Look at him here. Escapes the guard immediately or the tackle. There he is. Yeah, he's outside of the right tackle there and gets into the backfield with that nice – what a move. What a move. So this guy could potentially be that guy opposite Montez Sweat that we needed, and we got him as a steal in the 5th round. The only reason he lasted that way is because he does not have a lot of experience. Yet he had 8-9 sacks last season, and he was not a starter. So that gives you an indication of the qualities that he possesses, and it's just now about handing him over to the defensive coordinator and the defensive line coach and teaching them NFL moves and working alongside Montez Sweat, a veteran, and DeMarcus Walker, a veteran. They can teach him some tricks and tell them about the players he's going to be playing up against and what they do best. This guy could potentially be a outstanding defensive end for the Chicago Bears. And by the way, the former president, he liked it.
Can you believe this motherfucking draft? It's incredible. No one could have done a better job than Ryan Poles did, except for me. You know, I owned a pro football franchise. We won 23 games in 2 seasons. We were a great success, but Poles has done good too.
I thought immediately you'd jump in and say, wait a minute, he was a bust in the USFL.
Yeah, he killed the USFL. I mean, he was the one that literally killed the league.
Yes.
If I could go back just a moment.
Sure.
You were talking about we shouldn't have drafted a punter in the 4th round. Mm-hmm. This is going to sound bad. One of them was really bad. The other one I thought goes under the radar. Back when Ditka was still here, we drafted Chris Gardocki, a punter, in the 3rd round.
That's right.
And I thought Gardocki was pretty good, but for some reason Wanstead didn't like him and let him walk. And then they drafted Todd Sauerbrun from here in West Virginia in the 2nd round, based upon the fact he had a 97-yard punt at WVU, and he was a bust. He was a terrible bust. But I thought Gardocki was pretty good. So the Bears in the past have tried to do this, to get their punter that can reliably get you pinned down inside the 5. And it really hasn't worked before, maybe now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. You know, they have drafted punters in the mid rounds and so forth, and it hasn't always worked out. I got a good feeling about this one. I got a good feeling that this guy is going to pay dividends for this team. So.
And you remember when the Rams won the Super Bowl a few years ago when they beat Cincinnati, they had that punter, I can't think of his name, but he was a big part of their, they ran punts with fake punts with him all the time. He threw the ball.
What team is this?
The Rams, when they won the Super Bowl a few years ago, they had that punter that was always faking and could throw for first downs and run people over. Their punter was a big part of their team that won the Super Bowl against Cincinnati.
Yeah, forgetting his name.
You know what I'm talking about. The point is,
I know exactly.
You say, oh, it's just a punter, but that guy was a big part of their championship. And conversely, our guy was a big part of all. Yeah, Heckler.
Johnny Hecker, yeah.
The guy that we've had is a big part of all the failures we've had. And then last night I was talking about even the guys we had for a long time. Brad Maynard was there from 01 through 10, I think. Mm-hmm. And Maynard had a terrible chip shot punt against the Eagles in 01 that was very untimely, horrible punt. He did it again against Green Bay in the championship game. And then we had Pat O'Donnell, who had a chip like fucking 14-yard punt against the Eagles in the terrible double doink game. So we've had bad punts in all these playoff losses we've had too, is what I'm saying. So if we could get a punter that could just be consistent and not, melt under the scrutiny of a playoff game, then it's a great pick.
Mm-hmm. He does remind me a little bit of that Ariza guy, and I was hoping the Bears would entertain signing him, but I think the Bears wanted to stay away from the controversy of somebody who had allegedly raped a young girl, although he was cleared of those charges. But I like the move. Hey, the joke is punters are football players too, and you need good football players. When you look at the fact that you got the number 1 rated overall rated quarterback, you got the number 1 overall rated punter, you got one of the top 3 wide receivers. You got, as somebody just put up, a defensive pass rusher.
And an offensive lineman.
And an offensive lineman. But somebody put up, I should have saved it, that Booker, there it is. Booker is a Max Crosby archetype, needs about 15 more pounds. Yeah, I mean, Booker has got potential. And then when you're talking about Kiran Amegadjie, I think I got it right. I've been practicing. That is a promising football player. This guy, let me see what I got here from him. This is him talking about himself immediately after he was drafted.
I want to marry up my nastiness, my physicality, my toughness. I want to marry that up with technique. Just be cleaner, be a cleaner player, get more experience. I want to compete against the best. I want to be the best. So, there's little fixes here and there. They'll take me there.
Do you have a preferred position?
I'm a tackle. I prefer tackle. But I'll play anywhere. I'm a football player. You can put me wherever you want on the field. I'll go make a play. I'm a very confident person. I think I'm a great player, but I'm not a finished product, and I'll never, be ashamed of that. So it's, every day is a work. It's a thing. It's a work ethic thing. It's about getting better. And my ceiling is extremely high. I believe I have the highest ceiling in this entire draft class of any player. So for me, it's about what I can do every single day to achieve that. And me and Coach Morgan talked about that in our meeting, and that's exactly what I plan on, attacking from day one.
I love that attitude. Love that attitude. That's a player who knows that he can be better, has the physical gifts to be better, and promises to work his ass off to be. The only thing that stopped this guy was the level of competition. If he would have been playing against better competition, he probably would have been drafted in the first round. This is a steal to me. If he plays as well as expected, this guy could be a steal. Do you know anything about Kiran? He's out of Yale.
Yeah, it makes me think of Fensick. Wasn't Gary Fensick from Yale?
Fensick, and I think Dan Jiggets, right? He was an offensive
lineman. Yeah. I love Dan's broadcasting career, too.
Not so much his playing career, but his broadcasting career.
I'm surprised that Fensick didn't become – he was a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that, like that. So was Hampton. Hampton did some broadcasting early on when he first retired with NBC before he became a local guy. But I'm surprised Fensick didn't make – like the national broad, maybe the second or third team or whatever, but I'm surprised he didn't make a career because, again, he's just a photogenic kind of guy,
Tooch says that Jiggets was from Harvard, and so hopefully Dan Jiggets is not listening to the broadcast because there's a rivalry between Harvard and Yale and Jiggets.
Yeah, but you know who else went to Yale?
Who?
George W. Bush.
Oh, part of the Scrolls, right?
So I think he was in because of his dad, but
yeah.
I like W. I love that he and Michelle Obama are friends. And I love that conservatives hate that.
Well, I'll tell you what. We heard from Donald Trump. It's time to hear from Joe Biden.
Not a lot of people know this, but I was a ball boy for George Halas. And beside that, I saw his balls. Huge. Biggest goddamn balls I have ever seen. So I'm a Bears fan. I like big balls. I cannot lie.
He was on Howard Stern last Friday, by the way.
Yeah. What was he able to stay awake though?
Yeah. Did you see the zingers he was taking at the press thing over the weekend? The broadcasters.
Oh, I did see that the broadcast journalist dinner or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah, and he was because Trump called him Sleepy Joe. He's like, well, if you look at him in court, it's actually Sleepy Don. He had a bunch of zingers, man. I mean, it was pretty good.
I think he's got another one here.
Excuse me for interrupting. I forgot to tell you that Mr. Halas also had a big dick. Big balls, big dick, I promise you. This is true. A lot of times in practice, we'd use his dick to measure first downs. I'm not joking.
That's great.
You're a foreskin shy of the first down.
God.
Oh, I see that Tooch is in the background, so hopefully he'll join us in about 10, 15 minutes or whenever he's ready. We're ready for him.
The new homeowner, John Santucci.
Oh, you said you homo.
No, the new homeowner.
I love this moment when the Bears called Kiran Amegadjie to let him know he was part of the Bears.
Kiran.
Hello?
Kiran.
Yo.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Are you in Hinsdale right now?
Yes, sir.
You want to be a Chicago Bear?
I'd love to. I'd love to, sir.
Awesome. Well, we're going to put your name in right now, okay?
I appreciate it.
All right, I'm going to give you the phone to Coach Eberflus.
All right.
Come on.
Coach, how you doing?
Hey, that's a year ago you said you're going to come to the Chicago Bears. You were right, huh?
I told you, Coach. I told you.
You did tell me. Tell your dad he's got a new golf partner.
He's right next to me. I'll tell him.
All right. Tell him I'll see him out there on Sunday.
Sounds good.
All right. That's great, man. Congratulations, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're gonna be great. All right. I'm gonna pass the phone here to Kevin Warren. Okay.
All right, sir.
You got it.
Hey, Kiran, congratulations.
I appreciate it, sir.
All right, I appreciate you. Looking forward to work with you. Come on in and be ready to go to work.
Yes, sir, I am.
What a fucking moment. Huh?
That's good shit, man. That's good shit.
Man, that's why we're Bears fans, guys. You know, that moments like that, to me, Dan, this is a question I've been wanting to ask you for a long time. That reminded me of the question. For me personally, there have been so many awesome moments off the field that as a Bears fan, I've coveted. Can you think of any for you, stuff that's happened off the field that really touched you or made you proud to be a Bears fan or anything like that? It's not an easy question, I know, because stuff like that doesn't pop up easily. But I'll tell you one, you know, I was a little disappointed that only 25,000 fans got to Soldier Field for the Walter Payton Memorial when he passed. Right. But nonetheless, when I watched the broadcast,
I cried, yeah.
Fucking cried like a baby. Cried like a effing baby. And, you know, even moments where, oh, geez, it just escaped me. I had another moment to share with you, but can you think of any?
Yeah, again, it ended up not working the way we wanted it to, but whoever it was that called Fields when he got drafted, when he went to the podium and said, "My Chicago Bears draft Justin Fields." I was so excited about that. Just the way, like the guy that was doing the guest, you know, because it wasn't Roger Goodell for some reason, even though it was a first round pick, but whoever did the announcement was a huge Bear fan and he was so happy.
Yeah.
And you know, I know that's different, but it's like anytime there's a big game and Jim Cornelisson's there, I know he's not really the Bears guy, he's the Blackhawks guy, but it always makes me really happy too. And they show him on the national broadcast. Makes me feel like a Bears thing, you know? I love it when he does the national anthem.
Yeah, he's awesome. There's no doubt about it. He should do all of them, in my opinion. I don't know why. But another one that got me, and I bet it got you too, when Lovey took the podium and proclaimed that we were going to beat the Packers.
Yes.
I mean, come on. You know, that guy can probably fucking get any woman in bed right away with lines like that. We're going to beat the Packers. Oh, I spread my legs for him.
I'd spread my legs for him at that point.
That's right.
And don't forget, Lovey was a critical part of us getting the first round pick the year before, the one that we ended up trading that brought us the quote unquote haul that ultimately turned into Caleb Williams as well. Again, we were at the stadium when Lovey went for 2, and what a great moment.
That was the best part of the day, right?
You know, even though we lost, again, I always find it to be special when we're there. So
absolutely. But, you know, it was so cool. Dan and I went to the final regular season game 2 seasons ago when the Bears lost to the Vikings. And they, of course, were purposely trying to lose. Who was that quarterback they brought in?
They signed him on Tuesday. And when Nathan Peterman led a scoring drive, they're like, wait a minute, we can't win today. Get Peterman out of there. And they put that bum in that they had signed on the Tuesday before. who didn't even know the offense, but it didn't matter. They just didn't want him to score.
That was so funny. I mean, at that point, you and I looked at each other and probably were wondering a little bit, why the fuck are we out here in the fucking cold?
But you know, the thing, if you recall, when we first got there, early in the day, in the first quarter, some random fan was talking to us and said, hey, did you hear Lovey? There's a rumor Lovey's going to be fired from the Texans, and he's going to do what he can to help the Bears today.
Yeah.
Some guy told us that, and we're like, yeah, that's just some shit that Bears fans are saying because it sounds good. But then at the end, the motherfucker gets a 4th and 26 for a touchdown, then goes for 2 and gets the win, and it gives us the first pick in the draft.
That's unbelievable.
Oh, man, that was such a cool moment.
By the way, Tony Moy is in the chat room, and he reminded me that he sent this. And I want to talk to you about the Atlanta Falcons drafting Michael Penix with the 8th overall. But Tony sent me this. Their social media team released this.
Penis. Was that real? I saw that before. I didn't know if it was just something somebody did.
I think it's real. I don't know, Tony. Can you verify this is true? Because this is awesome. It's like somebody in the social media team said this was a dick move towards Kirk Cousins. You know, they did a Mike Glennon on him. You know,
but you know it made no sense because they get. I mean, I get Mike Glennon, and he didn't have the prestige of Cousins. Mm-hmm. And you gave Cousins like $180 million. So why would you sign him and make that pick and not be forthright? I understand the Bears saying, who cares what Mike Glennon thinks? He's Mike Glennon. He should just be happy he got a payday. Right. But Kirk Cousins is, I don't like him, but he's an accomplished quarterback. He's had good stats. He's won a couple playoff games. It boggles the mind. Why would you sign him for that amount of money, almost $200 million? And then do what you can to disrupt the chemistry of the team. Like, even if you're going to make the draft, be like, dude, we're drafting him, but you're still the guy. We gave you this money. Be assured you're the starter, whatever. You got to make him feel comfortable. You just gave him $180 million. It makes no sense whatsoever.
And his agent says that they called Kirk while they were on the clock to make the pick. That's when they let Kirk know that they were drafting another quarterback. It's just not right. You got to, in today's NFL, to any league today, and I mentioned this the other day, you got to treat players like the NBA owners are treating players, not let them run their plays like LeBron does or anything, but they want to feel involved. The superstars, the guys who are making big dollars and stuff, they want to feel like they're a part of the decision-making or at least in the know. You know how embarrassing that is? Yeah, I'm going to be the quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. Paid me $100 million. Hey, Kirk, didn't you hear? They just drafted Michael Penix. Okay, that's just not right. You don't do that to employees. This is a star player, a guy that you're investing big money, just like you said. So, I don't know. Hey, somebody else sent me a nice clip. Joe Trevinzo. I hope I didn't mispronounce your name, Joe. But he sent me, did you see Chris Ballard, the GM of the Colts, going after the media?
Yes, I did.
Let me show a little.
I don't know. I read some of the bullshit that was said on TV. Just the typical fucking, excuse my language, our typical league, unnamed sources, bad interview. That's such bullshit. It fucking is. It's bullshit. Put your name on it. I'm tired of, we tear these young men down. These are 21, 22 young men. And if people out there can tell me they're perfect in their lives, it's crap. It's crap. This is a good kid. And, for those reports to come out, I said it last year. It's bullshit. I'm sorry. I apologize for the language. I don't, but I do.
Don't you wish more coaches and general managers were that way? Just let it out.
Yeah, I don't like him. I don't. I know he worked for the Bears before. Every time I hear him speak, I'm like, I don't like him at all. So even if that was cool, I don't want to give him credit. I just don't like him.
Is it just his voice that you don't like?
That and his accent and I don't know. I just don't like Chris Ballard. I don't know. I'm always secretly hoping he gets fired.
Oh, geez.
I just don't like him.
Who do you like better, Aaron Rodgers or Chris Ballard?
Oh, Chris Ballard, for sure.
All right, I got to ask Tooch this. Tooch, ready or not, here I come. There he is. Johnny Santucci, what did you think of Chris Ballard letting the media know, fuck you guys if you're going to use unnamed sources to knock down a young 20-year-old player? What do you think?
I got a kick out of it. I love his accent. He's no BS,
Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, he hasn't won a Super Bowl yet, but I got a feeling he will, because he wasn't the GM when Peyton Manning won, right?
No. I think he was still with the Bears.
Yeah, I think you're right. Nonetheless, I really enjoyed it. Tooch, everybody in the chat room is applauding. Welcome, Tooch. Tooch. It's fucking amazing.
And congratulations again on your house, John.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, are you moved in now? Are you in the house?
Not yet. We have like a overlay between out of the apartment and into the house of like a month. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cool. So that's
take our
nice.
time.
Exactly, that's the way to do it. But you have had sex on the kitchen counter, right?
Not yet.
Dan is willing to be flown in and take care of that.
Christening will be soon, though.
There you go. I like that. I understand you got a good Bears state of affairs for us.
Yeah, I think so.
You think so?
Yeah.
You have to with much more confidence. You should.
It's a new Bears era, so yeah, pretty confident about it.
All right. Well, here it comes.
Brand new.
Listen, if the Chicago Bears were as smart as they think they are, they would draft the Tooch at number 1. No one is better. He's a lot better than those filthy animals, Dan and Aldo. Go get them, Tooch. Go get them.
All right, Bears State of Affairs, NFL offseason week 15. What's happening, Barflies? Well, the 2024 NFL draft has come and gone. The Bears added 5 new players from the draft, and for the most part, things went as expected as the Bears selected USC quarterback Caleb Williams first overall and kicked off a new era in Bears history, the Caleb Williams era. Yeah, prior to last Thursday, everything was BC before Caleb. Now everything is AD after the draft. Yeah, we could also mark this era by how everything has affected Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. Here's Matt Eberflus before Caleb. Yeah, Matt Eberflus after the draft. Look, the new era's had a profound effect on the Bears head coach. Yeah, the new AD Flus is like a new guy altogether. I'm wondering if it's the same guy. Looks like he went and got a little queer eye for the straight guy makeover.
Oh, God.
But on to Caleb Williams. Yeah, this guy's been a Bear for only a few days, and he's already created a new Bears hand gesture, the Bears Claw.
I love that.
The Bear Claw. Yeah, he's only been a Bear for a little while. Yeah, he's already affecting Bears football in a positive way. I mean, prior to this, Bears fans would hear Bear Claw and think of this. Yeah, the Bear Claw, one of my favorite pastries. I think John Candy was a big fan, too. So silly. It's like a dad joke. Yeah, throughout the draft process, Caleb Williams really did a lot to dispel the previous notion that he isn't a leader. There were multiple reports of Caleb texting his new teammates, Caleb organizing team throwing sessions, and Caleb exhibiting fun levels of confidence. He also seems well-liked by teammates and well-liked by the Bears organizations. Yeah, and Bears fans can reasonably expect for Caleb to break at least 2 Bears rookie records. Yeah, Bears rookie quarterback record for passing touchdowns in a season. Yes, it's 11, and it's held by this guy. 1943, Charlie O'Rourke. That's more than 80 years ago if you're doing the math. Yeah, Caleb Williams also has a chance to break Mitch Trubisky's rookie passing yards team record of 2,193 yards set in 2017. And throwing to 2 Pro Bowl receivers like DJ Moore and Keenan Allen will certainly help. The Bears have never had a 30-yard touchdown passer in a single season, nor for a 4,000-yard passer. And Caleb Williams accomplished both of these feats during his Heisman Trophy-winning 2022 season, and he almost did it again last year. Eric Kramer and Jay Cutler came close, but the drop-off after them is big. In fact, the Bears are the only NFL team without a 30-touchdown quarterback. Yep, like I showed before. Look at there's all these guys out there. The Bears have none. It's just a logo. It's crazy. Yeah, hopefully that record falls soon, yeah. But now, not only will Caleb have DJ Moore and Keenan Allen to throw to, as well as Cole Kmet, he'll also have the Bears wide receiver of the future in former Washington Huskies player Rome Odunze, whom the Bears selected 9th overall. Williams and Odunze are already making a connection off the field. Yeah. Here they are. Look at that. That's the future, folks. Yep. And Odunze finished 2023 with 1,428 yards, 13 touchdowns, and a quarterback rating when targeted of 120.8. This resulted in him winning a spot on the AP first team, along with an array of other accolades and an appearance in the national championship versus Michigan. Odunze will also have a shot at breaking some Bears teams records. Yeah, that's Harlan Hill, who holds the rookie team record for receiving yards in the season, 1,124, set in 1954.
Jesus.
Yep, maybe also have a chance if he sticks around long enough to break the Bears team record for most receiving yards in history of 5,059, set by Barkeeper's former WBBM co-worker Johnny Morris.
Johnny!
Look at that picture. I love that picture, man.
That's a great photo.
Yeah. And in the third round, the Bears selected Yale offensive lineman and Hinsdale, Illinois native Kiran Amegadjie. Amegadjie, a lifelong Bears fan, reportedly told Bears head coach Matt Eberflus, quote, "You're going to draft me next year and you're going to like it." Yeah. Talk about manifesting one's own destiny. I love it. The Bears fans will also love how passionate Amegadjie is about the Bears, as evidenced by his tweets. Yeah, look at that. He's a real fan, man. Yeah. A 6'5", 325-pound lineman should eventually compete for the Bears' left tackle spot, currently held by Braxton Jones. Amegadjie has immense potential, but likely needs a little time to develop. And the most unhappiest Bear after the draft, that's got to be punter Trenton Gill.
Yeah.
He woke up the morning after the draft and said, I did not see that coming. Yeah, the Bears drafted a punter in the 4th round. Torrey Taylor, punter out of Iowa by way of Australia, was drafted 122nd overall by the Bears on Saturday. The top punting prospect entering the draft, the Australian native, was an All-American punter. He's 6'4", 223 pounds. And Taylor's size matches his leg strength, and he can regularly plant punts inside the 20. In 2023, Taylor won the Ray Guy Award as the nation's top punter and was named a first-team All-American, Big Ten Conference Punter of the Year, and first-team All-Big Ten Conference. In 2023, he set the NCAA record for single-season punting yardage with 4,479 yards. Man, that's like, I don't know, that's a lot of punts. What is Iowa football, though? That record stood since 1938. Yeah, Bears just breaking records all over the place. After selecting Taylor with the Bears' 4th pick of 4, Bears fans thought Ryan Poles was done, but not Tooch. No, sir. The Bears GM traded back into the draft and grabbed Kansas pass rusher Austin Booker in the 5th round. The 6'4", 244-pound edge rusher had 9 sacks for the Jayhawks last season. He also has a ton of pass rush potential. And Ryan Poles did a great job in this draft. Think about this. Poles' predecessor, Ryan Pace, traded up for so many players, and yet Ryan Poles got way better players by trading down and staying put. Not to mention, Ryan Pace traded a combined 5 first-round picks to get Khalil Mack and Justin Fields and ended up with 0 playoff wins. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's true. Yeah, like Ryan Poles said on Saturday, quote, "This is an impact draft for this organization." Well, I couldn't agree more, Ryan. This draft, like I said before, was the single most important draft in Bears history. It's the start of a whole new era in Chicago Bears football, and Bears fans are absolutely buzzing. And in closing, let me just find my last closing here. All right, in closing, Yeah, Chicago Bears legend and Dan Aguirre favorite Jim McMahon had some words of wisdom for new Bears quarterback Caleb Williams and wide receiver Rome Odunze. He said, quote, "If I could give you just one piece of advice," McMahon said, "that's to play hard. If you play hard, the fans will love you. And if you happen to play hard and win it all, the fans are going to love you forever. Good luck and bear down." And that is Bears State of Affairs.
I've got to commend the Tooch. I really, really do. His Bears State of Affairs are great. They're even better now that my infrastructure bill helped improve his internet, you ungrateful piece of shit.
These guys always looking for credit. Biden and Trump. Always looking for credit.
They're like two grumpy old men. Was it Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau?
That's right. Oh, excellent job, Tooch. I'm going to try to isolate that and post it on YouTube so that people don't have to listen to the first hour of the two dirty liberals, as Trump calls Dan and me.
No, I'm a fat know-nothing liberal, remember?
Oh, that's right.
A fat know-nothing liberal. That's so funny.
You know what was interesting, John, is that there were a lot of comments on your mustache today. So I'm going to share with you some of those.
Got some alopecia going on here.
Yeah, what is going on there? Alopecia, huh? So that's what you call it,
Bald
alopecia.
spots there. Yeah, the hair went it's just like clear. It's not even white.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, let's
send it to the lab and have it analyzed. You know,
it'll come back herpes. No.
Let me play a little music as I post some of these comments from our fans. Let's see. So GCA says, "Tooch's mustache is scaring me. I'm out of here."
Sorry, GCA. Damn it.
Sports Chicago Style says, "Half of Hitler's stash."
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of.
Bizzo Joe says, "What's up with Tooch's upper lip? Is that a 3/4-inch stash?"
Yeah, it's like right here. It's like his hair is clear.
Yeah, it's definitely clear. Trap says that stash just definitely has
to get rid of it. Yeah. I'm afraid to shock my coworkers though if I come back.
Vizzle says Flus needs to give Tooch some stash advice.
I'll put some Rogaine here, maybe, huh? Rogaine?
Oh, that's a good idea. Nucky says, "I wouldn't ride that mustache." Chaz says, "Looks like Tooch fell asleep and getting his ass across the face."
I love it. Yeah. Well deserved.
Iceberg says, "Make mustaches great again." And Trap says,
"Look, maybe I just go with the soul patch the whole time."
There you go. I like that look.
As much as I hate mustaches, the Bears had two of the best mustaches ever with Ditka and Wannstedt.
Yep.
Oh, I never liked Wannstedt because there looked like something was going on in the right part of his stash. but Chaz says Tooch's face got teabagged by dog shit. Got two more lashes. Stash looks like a third eyebrow. And Vizzle says Tooch's stash is on layaway.
Man. Oh boy. Let me have it. All right, next week, Bears State of Affairs will feature something new on the mustache portion of the show.
I thought it was an excellent state of affairs, and you really captured, these picks and the Bears' history with picks. It was very well done.
It's a new era, though, Aldo.
Yeah, it really is. What are your expectations for 2024? Realistic expectations, knowing that these guys are rookies and there's a lot of new people playing next to each other. What do you think?
I think we have to temper expectations because this is a tough division. Might be the toughest division in the NFL. Because all four teams are good. Bears had one of the top defenses in the NFL for the latter half of last season. There's Caleb Williams is stepping into an offense with a lot of playmakers. And he's going to have to learn. He's going to make plays. Like I said, those two records, Trubisky and Charlie O'Rourke, those are there's no chance those don't stand anymore after this year. And that's great news for like old time Bears fans like Aldo and myself, you know?
Yeah. Sports Chicago says when your mustache goes up, it wants to be a porn star.
Yeah. Yep. All right, fuck everybody. I'm out of here. Fuck you guys. Fuck
Thank you, Lefty, from Dan Aguirre, Johnny Santucci, and myself. We do have a pretty good Bears podcast. I don't know if it's the best, but it's a good one, we think.
Best podcast, worst mustache.
That's right.
My mustache is terrible if I grow it. It looks like Hulk Hogan's.
Really?
It comes down like, like it just keeps but it doesn't connect with the bottom, so I can't grow the goatee, but it's still like the Hogan where it comes downward. It's disgusting.
The jokes just keep coming, I gotta tell you. So why is that? You have some American Indian in you?
Fuck, who knows, man? I'm a mutt. I'll just say I'm white.
You are from a lot of different.
Yeah, I told you my dad's side of the family, dark skin, black hair, brown eyes, but his dad, who looked like Ricky Ricardo, fucked a woman that looked like Lucille Ball, and that was my grandmother who had red hair.
Oh, look at that.
So again, my mom had dark brown hair, my dad had black hair. So, but my grandma was pale, so I got blue eyes and pale skin and medium to dark brown hair. So go figure.
Well, guys, give me a minute. I got to take a leak, and two of you guys have fun talking about how great I am, okay?
All right.
Man, I like the draft, John.
Oh, man, I was just going to ask you the same question, reading my mind. Yeah, I love it, too. I first I was like, a punter? We drafted a punter? Come on, that's like a no-no. It's like, even Greg Gabriel, he came on Saturday, I think, after Saturday's portion of the draft. And Gabriel was like, punter, we never draft punters. We don't spend draft picks on punters.
But we've drafted punters in the third and second round before. Yeah. We talked about them earlier.
We have, and the more I thought about it, I'm like, it's a pretty good, damn good pick, because now, it's a pick that it's a specialty pick because it could do damage. Like if we're late in games, we had trouble last year late in games with giving up those big leads, but if Taylor punts him deep in there, we could get hold the leads that we lost last year. Not only that, but man, Trent Gill, every time he went to punt the ball, I thought it was going to be blocked. He would take forever to get rid of the ball, man. I just hated that.
And he was the worst in the league with the average on his punts. I mean, just everything was inefficient. But like I mentioned earlier, we drafted Chris Gardocki in the third round and Sauerbrun in the second round. I thought Gardocki was pretty good as a Bear. Wanty didn't like him and let him go, but Sauerbrun was an unequivocal bust. But man, Trenton Gill is horrible. So I like the pick. I like on paper, you drafted a punter, a position of need, no doubt. You drafted an offensive lineman, a position of need.
Yep.
And an edge rusher, position of need. And of course, quarterback and wide receiver. So everybody you took this year, maybe they don't pan out, but it looked like you drafted all your needs.
Yep. And all of that, but they got good players at all those picks. I liked Amegadjie, man. I was like, this dude, I know he's raw and stuff, but the physical gifts that he has, man, the strength, the length, the footwork, the long arms, man, he'll give Braxton, if not this year, next year, Braxton Jones is going to be having some steep competition. And then I was laughing at the Todd Sauerbrun story. Do you remember the story where he was drafted second overall? He came to camp and had a license plate that said hang time, and they end up taping him to the goalposts with duct tape.
He deserved it. The best Sauerbrun thing is he came back in 2007 as a Bronco and was talking shit. That's when Cutler was a Bear.
Yeah.
Brandon Marshall was a Bear. Eddie Royal was a Bear. All these future Bears on the team.
Yeah.
And he kept kicking to Devin Hester, and Hester had 2 straight punt returns for touchdowns. And one of them, he leapt over Sauerbrun, who talked shit in the paper saying, I'm not afraid of Devin Hester. I'll kick to Devin Hester all day.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I remember Dan Deerdorf and Greg Gumbel did the game, and Dan Deerdorf was like, I just don't understand it in mid-punt. He's running back. Why do they keep kicking him the ball?
Was Mike Shanahan was the coach back then, I think.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Cutler balled that day, man. He was really good, but in the end, Rex Grossman threw a 4th down touchdown with about no time left to Bernard Berrien in the end zone.
I remember
Set
that.
up overtime, and Robbie won it in OT.
Yep, great game.
Yep.
The Sauerbrun story, it's hilarious.
God, man, he was a 2nd-round pick, and just Wani envisioned him being Ray Guy, like Soldier Field, cold. Well, enjoy going 97 yards because our punter just put you back at the 3. It just never panned out, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and Caleb, you think that tweet was real? That Caleb texted the punter and said, "Hey, you probably won't be punting much here."
At first, I thought it was just bullshit, but NBC Sports Chicago disseminated it too in a story saying it was real.
All right. Yeah, you gotta like it. It's funny, but obviously he'll be punting. He'll be punting. Everybody punts, man.
But I like that Caleb thinks that, like, hey, we're gonna be there scoring, so you don't have to punt that much.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
you love it. You gotta love the attitude. I love the attitude of all these guys.
I mean, it's a complete opposite of. I'm not trying to shit on Mitch, but Mitch is just looking confused and hoping that we can try not to drown.
That's a great point though, because now we have we've got Poles has drafted a bunch of players that are good players, acquired good players through free agency. The coaches now got to pull their weight, man. We can't give up these double-digit leads in the 4th quarter. The offense has got to be better than Luke Getsy. The coaches should be feeling some pressure too,
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah. Yep, sure is.
For the first time in a long time, since, like Aldo mentioned, the Bears' 100th year in 19, it's the first time in a long time that the media is not just going to be taking jabs at us.
Yeah.
Throwing jabs and saying the Bears suck and they're going to be terrible and, they might win 5 games or whatever. I mean, there's going to be some hype now.
I love it, man. Yeah, like I said, Bears fans are buzzing. The hype. I can't wait for the season to start, man. I'll tell you the truth. I didn't look, but I mean, I think the Bears win total probably went up on, sports books.
Well, when Aldo comes back,
7.5, right? 7.5, I think I said a while ago.
When Aldo comes back, it'd be great if you could just take a peek at that and see
pull it up. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's gone up as a result of the draft.
Yeah, it's got to be. Let me take a look at that.
I have a friend who is not a Bears hater. He was telling me that he was worried that Rome was a wide receiver that could only run 2 or 3 different routes. He's like, I just don't like that draft pick. He's like, I like the others. He said, I think your wide receiver is way overrated, and compared him to Kevin White.
Who said that?
My friend. He just said that he watches college and pro. I mean, he's knowledgeable. He's good. He just said he thought that he had a limited route tree, similar to when Kevin White came in from West Virginia. All he could do was run a go route. He said that's all that guy does. He can't run routes. So hope that's wrong.
He's good, man. So the good thing about Odunze is that 50-50 balls he comes up with like 90% of the time, which you got to love. He's good. He's one of the better route runners in the draft. Kalen DeBoer is the coach of Washington. He had a fairly complex offensive system, So I mean, Odunze didn't He didn't have that limited of a route tree. I'm trying to find the Bears here. Of course, now it's 8.5 now, Dan.
So they went up a full game.
Yeah, 1 full game now. 8.5 minus 140.
So they got us basically at 500.
Yep. Basically 500, 8.5.
Well, that's not going to do it in terms of going into the playoffs. They're going to have to win at least 9, if not 10 games. Of course, you can't win 8.5 anyway, but
right. But that is right in the middle of 17.
Yeah, exactly.
One loss. Either way, it's either 8 and 9, 9 and 8. But I think they could get 9 wins. I mean, they have a 4th place schedule, so I think if I would take the over, it's not a lot of. I mean, it's minus 140. If you take the under, it's plus 115. It's about 100 win 115. But in order to win 100, you got to bet 140.
I would think that on paper, the Bears, again, usually Vegas is right. I hate to say it, but they're usually in the ballpark of whatever their projections are. But I'd like to think the Bears on pace for 10 really could go 10-7.
I think so too. The Vikings 6.5 wins, over 6.5.
I hated that they got that defensive player, the edge rusher.
Yeah, Dallas Turner, right?
Yeah, I was like, we're gonna have to hate facing that fucking guy.
So I'm looking at a few of these. I'm trying the Packers over 10.5. So
That all depends on if Jordan Love, a lot like we mentioned, Rick Meyer, Rookie of the Year, 1993. The league caught up with his ass pretty fucking quickly. That could happen to Jordan Love too.
Yeah, and Lions 10.5 as well. So,
I mean, I still think it's tough if your coach cost you a Super Bowl appearance and then goes in the presser and says, I have no regrets. I mean, like, I'd be thinking, this fucking guy's out of his mind. He's not honest with us to admit that he blew this game, and he did.
Yeah, Austin Reed, practice squad player, Laz. Western Kentucky Hilltopper. I don't think he beats out Tyson Bagent. I think you probably go with just Caleb and Tyson. I don't know if you need Brett Rippon, but I could be wrong. Both those guys, Bagent and Williams, have been pretty durable throughout their careers.
I guess Rippon's been around a while now, but hasn't played a whole lot. Do you think? Wouldn't this be the time you'd like to have a crafty veteran sort of there to help Caleb through some stuff?
Yeah, that would be the thinking. Yep, correct. Yeah, then they got one of those Illinois defensive tackles, not the one who Aldo like Johnny Newton, but Keith Randolph Jr. I think he's got a good chance to make the team.
Yeah, Newton went in the second round, early in the second round.
Yeah.
He's going to be a great player. I think he would have been a first-round draft pick had he not been injured during the draft process, so he wasn't able to work out and stuff. So I overheard you guys talking about anticipated win-loss records for next year.
Yeah,
Vegas gave us another win.
Yeah, Bears are at 8.5 now, at minus 140 after the draft.
Oh, nice.
I think it was 7.5. I think when we first looked at it way back a couple months ago or a month ago. Packers and Lions over 10.5, over under 10.5, and the Vikings only 6.5. They don't expect the Vikings. That's bad news for Jordan Silvera.
Yeah,
Didn't he come out as a new Vikings fan?
Yeah.
I saw him tweet something like skull and
yeah. He's on the Vikings. They drafted his favorite quarterback in the draft. They have Brian Flores and Kevin O'Connell, two coaches.
How can you switch teams like that?
He's a vagabond.
Yeah.
He said during our draft coverage, if the Vikings draft J.J. McCarthy, who was his favorite quarterback coming out, I will be rooting for the Vikings this season. So that's what he's going to do. By the way, our resident porn star Mia has a prediction for this upcoming season.
My name is Mia Khalifa. And because I was a porn star, people think I don't know anything about football, but I have a tight end and huge boobs like an offensive line man. Anyway, the Bears will win 14 and lose 3. I will suck anyone's dick who disagrees.
For the record, I disagree a little bit.
I'm thinking 12-5.
Look at everybody in the chat lining up. I disagree. Well, thank you, Mia. She's going to have to do while our weather reports are on mothballs, I guess is the way to put it. Guys, I want to talk a little bit more about Rome Odunze, and I'm going to put up some highlights of him as we talk about what gifts he has as a running back. He ran a 4.45, so he's got the speed, right?
Yeah, 4.34 he ran.
Wow. And so one of the things about him is that he says this, there's no 50-50 balls when I'm out there. It's 100-0. He just is very proud of the fact that he has the athletic skills to go up and come down with the ball. Yeah. So can't wait to see that. And he's got a versatility. As Danny Shimon says, now we've got 3 wide receivers who can attack 3 layers of the football field, the short, the middle, and the deep. So he's going to be incredible. What do you think, Tooch?
Yeah, I love him, man. He's one of the better route runners in the draft, like I was telling. He wins the 50-50 ball like 9 out of 10 times. A lot of those balls that Penix is a good quarterback.
Yep.
A lot of those throws were a little bit behind him, but he still came back, made the play. Look at that. Before I would he doesn't get a lot of like the run after catch yardage like Keon Coleman. Look, here's running a sweep. Nice. You can use them in different ways and stuff. And, if Keenan Allen doesn't stick around that long, Keenan Allen's actually a pretty good comp for Odunze,
Yeah, it really is. Except Rome is faster.
Yeah, Rome's faster. Well, I'm Keenan's like what, 31, 32?
31 years old. Yeah. Somebody was saying today, what do you guys think about this? Keenan Allen, maybe you can get him this season to extend his contract 2 years. So he would play not only this season and then the next 2 seasons, plus it would lower his overall salary cap hit for next season when you're trying to sign more high-powered free agents.
I concur.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea.
My only problem, I won't say a problem. My only concern to look out for is he averaged like 9 touches per game with the Chargers. Is he going to get that many with the Bears? With DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, Rome Odunze, and he's the third down guy. Keenan Allen is. He doesn't catch long passes. He's not a deep threat. He's the guy when it's 3rd and 4. You're looking for him. So I don't know.
Would you rather have him or Tyler Scott? I mean, come on. Come on. Let's sign Keenan right now. Like you said, lower the cap hit, give him a big signing bonus. And plus, Caleb Williams knows him, before he even come to the Bears, has a little chemistry with him. Keep the squad together, man. Again, otherwise you could have Tyler Scott or Velus Jones out there on 3rd down.
No, I'm with you 100%. Yeah. There's no way I want to get rid of him. I'm just thinking about how to properly use him with this 3-headed wide receiver monster that we have. It's a great problem to have, and if he gets 9 throws his way and Rome, because he's the rookie, gets 5 and DJ Moore gets 8. So it's 9, 8, 5.
And then Cole
gets his 5. And then the running backs, as a total, they need to get 3 to 5 pass catches because I think that's an important part of the West Coast type offense that they run. We could see an incredibly prolific offense by this Bears team. Really, all it comes down to is can these offensive linemen give Caleb enough time? So how do you guys feel about the offensive line as it currently stands?
I think it needs a little work still. I'm sorry, but, it's like – I'm not sure about the depth, Tevin Jenkins seems to be out a lot, and then Braxton Jones, he's decent.
Struggled his 2nd year.
Yeah, I think Darnell Wright is pretty damn solid. You don't have to worry about that position at all.
Nate Davis, you never know if he can pass block. He's a good run blocker, but he's poor at pass blocking. And it seems like we haven't had a good center since Olin Kreutz left, or maybe Roberto Garza.
We got. I love the new guy they picked up. Kiran Amegadjie, but I don't know if he's. I think you throw him out there. I think he's kind of going to be your backup, but guard and tackle. And then we haven't seen Ryan Bates really play a lot of center, if at all.
Isn't it interesting that the pick we got to get the edge rusher was the same one we had before when we traded for Bates?
Yep. Yeah, we got it. Yeah, we traded
the exact pick.
That's same. We traded it to the Bills. They traded it back to us. So we got like 2 players for that pick, but we had to give up a pick next year.
The 4th rounder.
4th rounder next year. But in essence, that pick, we got 2 players with 1 pick.
Now, Kay says I would rather extend DJ Moore. I agree with you. I mean, but I think you can do both because the beauty of it is that you got your quarterback under his rookie contract. So for the next 4 years, you need
and they'll pick up the 5th-year option. So
yeah, exactly. So in essence, 5 years. So 5th-year option by then will be over $25 million. But nonetheless, you've got now 4 years, 5 years of the ability to bring in some high-priced free agents. This is what the 49 partly why the 49ers are so successful. They got Brock Purdy under that rookie contract, and they've been able to sign some quality free agents. And so Poles' work is still not done. If he really wants to build a powerhouse of a team, he's got some clever moves that he has to make in the next 2-3 seasons to solidify the team.
Take a look at this, Aldo. Look at how young our core is.
That is nice. Look at that, Dan.
25 and under players.
Dan, I challenge you to buy a jersey for half of these players.
I can't do it, man. I'm getting married. I've got to be responsible.
Well, I'm going to buy you one. What do you want? Rome, Jervon, Caleb, oh no, you said Montez Sweat.
Yeah, if out of those, I'd probably get Darnell because he's from West Virginia too. He's from Huntington, West Virginia.
Why didn't Caleb Williams should have gotten 13? By all accounts, he's going to be here longer than Keenan Allen. It's
that is true.
Because after Keenan Allen leaves, I mean, don't you think Caleb Williams is going to take 13 back?
Well, no, I'll give credit to the other Dan.
Mm-hmm.
He said that Caleb wore that in high school.
Okay.
18. He wore 18, and he was trying to customize jerseys just to see. And he did say a full week ahead of the draft that NFL Shop was not allowing you to customize 18 with the name Williams on it.
Is that right?
Yeah. So he predicted that Williams was going to be 18. So give the other Dan all the props in the world for that.
Mm-hmm. That I'll tell you what, man. This is the graphic of the day.
Credit. Is Shorty in the chat room?
He was earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in there now.
Shorty, you can come back and piss in all those bushes anytime now. Come on back.
Please. But look at that. The nucleus of this, no wonder they were patting themselves in the back.
Yep.
Look at that. That's unbelievable. Thank you for posting
that's a lot of good players at 25 and under.
Yep. And that J2K says it's unbelievable that Cole Kmet is 25 and one of the veteran leaders on this team.
And what's his name? DJ Moore isn't that much older. I think he's 26. So it's like, yeah.
Look at what Buckmeister said. Thank you for covering the Tuch's mustache. That might be the winner of all those little quips. By the way, while you were doing your
cared so much,
while you were doing your State of Affairs, I asked people, "Come on, let me hear some more Tuch jokes," which is probably why I got out of control there. That is a great nucleus, and I agree with you, Dan. Extending the contract of Keenan makes a lot of sense, and as
fourth round pick too,
right? Yeah. And as Daniel Jeremiah said in that media mashup, he showed no signs of slowing down last season. Yeah, he missed 4 games due to injury, and that's going to happen to any wide receiver whose job is to work the middle, to pick up those first downs. It's like fans like Tuch and Dan remember Marty Booker. I love Marty Booker. But the punishment that poor Marty took, because he was always picking up those third downs and he was being clobbered, it's going to take a toll. It will take a toll on
Tom
Keenan.
Waddle, another guy.
Another guy, yes.
First down, clobbered.
But you got to believe now with Rome and DJ that Keenan won't take those wallops as much. And then, of course, you got Everett and Kmet, 2 tight ends who are going to be taking those.
It's funny you said Everett, because I think the guy that you can look it up, Waddle got just blasted. I think his name was Thomas Everett, to play with Dallas and Tampa.
Okay.
I think he was with Tampa and he hit Tom Waddle. It's a hit that you would get kicked out of the league for now. If you could pull it up, like Waddle got his, I think he was injured for a long time over it.
Yeah, Ingram was underrated. I like that. He was a good little player, man. Wish he could have stuck around. And when did he go? The Broncos after us?
No, Seattle. He was with them forever and went to their Super Bowl when they lost to Pittsburgh with Mike Holmgren. Couldn't happen to a better guy to lose the Super Bowl, Mike Holmgren.
What about, if you want to live back there with Tom Waddle, Wendell Davis was a guy who I really liked a lot. And then he tore ACLs on both knees, I think on the same play.
Yeah, in Philly, in 93, his kneecaps went into his thighs.
Oh, my God.
It was like concrete, that surface.
Yeah, Veteran Stadium. That game was awful. Just terrible. But, Waddle took an incredible hit against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, the player said it was like playing on concrete.
That Wendell Davis hit, though, was just, like I said, his knees literally went into his thighs. Just awful.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I have I can't find the Everett hit, but I have
the Johnny Knox hit. He got
oh my gosh,
folded in half.
I think that was the worst hit, the most unbelievable hit ever. But there was not a great camera angle on it, which is why a lot of people are not aware of it. But that was unbelievable, man.
Yeah, he got folded in half.
Just nasty.
Yep. He never played again.
I think he still lamps, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I saw him at Soldier Field signing autographs, but they had a setup for him, so he was seated behind a table. Here's a hit by Benny Blades on Tom Waddle to just kind of give you an idea of the type of punishment the poor guy.
Punishment Waddle. Tommy took. Boom.
That's opening day, I believe, in '92.
Who's the quarterback there?
Jim Harbaugh.
Jimmy Harbaugh. Look at that poor guy. Jesus.
Yeah,
Some caught the game-winning touchdown that day, though. That's opening day '92, I believe.
Sounds right to me. Wow.
Oh, lost the ball.
Yeah, because in '91, the game was really cold in Week 10 when the Detroit Lions came to Chicago. So that's sunny. It's opening day '92. It was a 4th and goal with like 4 seconds to go, and Harbaugh hit Waddle for the touchdown. What a fun game.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Trapakeepa is absolutely right about Waddle being a shoe warrior. Yeah. You know, those were days where you were looking for any type of good news, and Waddle was definitely it. The way that
cut him, brought him back, cut him, brought him back, and then he stuck. You know, it was like he was resilient, man.
And Ditka, when he talked to the media, gave Waddle his props. He said, he's a tough son of a bitch. You know, I'll have him play on my team, and then next week he would cut him and then bring him back. It's a pretty good broadcaster too.
Wow, here goes what I was trying to find that hit. I found a quote from Tom talking about it. He said, "I had several stitches in my face. I tore a knee ligament and I injured my hip all on the same hit."
Jesus. That's one guy that I'm surprised he's not, spittle coming out of his mouth at his age now, because he's got to be in his 60s, right?
He was born in '67.
Oh, wow. So he's 50.
He's like a year older than me.
He's born the same day as Kurt Cobain, February 20th.
Look at that. Benny Blades.
Yeah. It's had bad luck with wide receiver injuries. You know, Wendell Davis, Johnny Knox, freaking who else? Kevin White.
Kevin White, yeah.
So many wide receivers get, injured here.
Kevin White thing is interesting because clearly the guy, Ryan Poles was criticized for just loving his scouting method is who looked good in his shorts.
Ryan Pace.
What did I say?
Ryan Poles. Yeah, I know it's easy. They're both Ryan P. Yeah,
especially when you had a couple of shots of tequila. Ryan Pace loved guys in how they looked in their underwear, and so Kevin White was a fucking Adonis. Just incredible body, but
like Alonzo Spellman.
I didn't read the playbook. I hear from sources, and
he ran one route
exactly.
But he was like Dan. He was from West Virginia.
At least his college was. I don't know if he was from here. Other than that, but yeah.
Were you excited about that draft pick?
Yeah, because they had just let Alshon leave, and you thought we needed a deep threat, and he was prolific for the go route at WVU, so. It wasn't like I was happy because he played there per se. I just thought he was a guy that could score, and then ironically didn't score at all with the Bears. So,
yeah, jeez, I am forever going to remember this moment.
When you see all the things that come with Caleb Williams, people have talked about the nail polish and the flair that he, the way that he dresses, and he made so much money in NIL. I can tell you from experience, this guy has a competitive fire in his eyes. And ever since I talked with him as a true freshman when he was at Oklahoma, this is what he has been dreaming of. Not only this moment, but being the #1 pick. This has been his goal. He wants to go to an organization, and as he told me, change the culture. He wants to be that engine for the Chicago Bears.
How do we ever forget that? Just a golden moment. Yeah. That's another golden moment, Dan. At the start of the show, I asked you about moments outside of the field. That's going to be one of them for me, man.
I concur.
The oldest franchise in the NFL has like some of these like lowest records for a quarterback. It's like, come on, this is a golden moment. This is the new era. We're gonna finally have a thrower of the football.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the criticisms I have about George McCaskey. You would think that he's smart enough, right, to know, wow, we're the ridicule of the league, with our passing offense. I'm going to hire somebody who is definitely, that's the first thing I'm going to say. Fuck Super Bowls. Fix this fucking quarterback thing. Because that's just so embarrassing, man. None. I'll never forget that graphic. None.
I know. It's crazy. It's just ridiculous. So 31 teams and we're 32. We got nothing. You know?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Well, I'm going to announce it on the air. I was going to type it, but you always say it anyway. I've got to piss, so I'll be right back.
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah, Carson Palmer, Matt Ryan. That's their most recent ones. You know, these, and that means they could have multiple 30-plus touchdown passers, but we still have 0. You know,
that's wild. All right, so this is interesting. Let's pick on some other teams for a change. Okay?
Yeah, Brian Sipe of the
exactly
the Browns.
That's who I was looking at.
That was
Dan
a long
Marino,
time ago. Yeah.
Dan Marino in 1994. That's a long time ago.
That's a long time ago. Yeah.
Well,
Sonny Jurgensen.
Oh my God!
Down there at Washington.
That's as bad as the Bears. Come on.
Look at Ryan Tannehill. Even Ryan Tannehill threw 30 touchdown passes. He's terrible.
What a joke this graphic is. Thank you, 33rd team, for making us feel bad and good, I guess.
Yeah. Look at the Packers. Jordan Love last year. A guy throws 30 touchdowns. Like, come on. Jeez. They've had a bunch of Blake Bortles. He was horrible. He threw 30 touchdowns.
Unbelievable. I was working on a graphic and I forgot to finish it in time. Let me see what it looks like. Yeah, I'm gonna download it and post it. I still needed to fact check it, but I got a feeling this might be entertaining for us to talk about. And in the meantime, Tooch, tell us what the color of the wallpaper is going to be when in the house.
Oh man, I haven't even thought that far ahead. It's, trying to pack up stuff here and get my wife and I have a month to move out. Then we got a month to move my mom out and into. We took.
Well, I want to ask all the barflies who live in the Iowa area. What city are you in, Tooch?
West Des Moines.
West Des Moines. If you want to help Tooch move, you see his.
There's a couple Des Moiners around here. David Ekbal, Waukee. Some guy lived. Mark Kozak or Kazak lives in Waukee. That's one town over.
There you go. So if any of you guys are available on a weekend day, you got Tooch's X account there. Just reach out to him and say, hey, I'm available for an hour on Saturday. I'll help move the plants
carry
or something.
Some boxes, yeah.
Exactly. All right, here's the graphic. It's loaded down. Again, I haven't fact-checked this thoroughly, but I'm pretty sure it's accurate. I wouldn't share it.
Yeah.
These are the skill position players for each of the NFC North teams. So the Bears have DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Odunze as their top 3 wide receivers. That's followed by the top 2 tight ends, both of them more than capable of catching 60 passes a year, Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett, and then DeAndre Swift, who's one of his skills is pass catching. Mm-hmm. Tell us about the Vikings team there, Tooch.
Well, I mean, they got, Justin Jefferson, one of the best in the leagues. Jordan Addison really came on last year as a rookie. What is that, Harry
Caneal, formerly of the Patriots, spent the training camp with the Bears.
Yeah, wasn't he with the Bears? Yeah.
Yep, he was. Didn't see much action. Then Brandon Powell, who was
Powell's
with
pretty
the Vikings.
Good.
Yeah, but he's not Cole Kmet if you were to line him up like that. Now, T.J. Hockenson and Aaron Jones are excellent pass catchers.
Yeah.
But compare that list with the Bears. I think
we're right
the Bears
up there.
have the edge. I think the Bears have the edge because Odunze is going to be much better than Harry Caneal, and Cole Kmet is going to be much better than Ryan Poles, or much better than Brandon Powell. The Lions now. I'm on Ross St. Brown. He's guys.
But I mean, the other guys are unproven. Williams and Raymond.
Exactly. Williams is a phenomenal talent, but hasn't proven anything yet. He's entering his second year. Khalifa Freeman, good talent. I wouldn't put him up against Odunze, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Sam Laporta is probably the best tight end of any of this.
Hockenson and Laporta, both Iowa tight ends.
I agree. Those excellent. Yeah, Iowa tight ends, man. Outstanding. Jeez.
Yeah, we should have grabbed one of those in the draft. There was one out there. Yeah.
Now, David Montgomery's not a prolific pass catcher, but Jahmyr Gibbs is. And but I put Montgomery's name up there because there was really nobody else on the team who was a good pass catcher.
Yeah, Monty's a good pass catcher.
He's okay.
All right, yeah.
Dan, when you come back, I want you.
I'm here.
Your comments. Yeah, study this list. Let me go through the Packers first, and then the Packers have a lot of promising young receivers, but no one that's really proven themselves yet. Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs, Christian Watson, Dontavian Wicks, who visited with the Bears. I thought the Bears were definitely going to grab him. Now, Luke Musgrave, excellent tight end, scored a touchdown against the Bears in the home opener. And then they got two good pass-catching running backs, Josh Jacobs, the veteran that they got from the Raiders, and Marshawn Lloyd, who was Caleb Williams' safety valve at USC. The guy can catch the ball really well. So they got a decent, but again, nowhere compared to the Bears. What do you think, Dan Aguirre?
All right. Which team do you want me to start on?
Whatever. Tell me what you think on the Bears compared to these other teams.
First off, Jefferson's great in Minnesota. I thought N'Keal Harry was better than that he showed in Chicago. So, I mean, again, he's not the number one. Addison plays well against us. Hawkinson, I love Aaron Jones, always plays well against us. That Minnesota lineup is nothing to look over. With Detroit, St. Brown speaks for himself. I think Khalifa Raymond is good. Laporta, like you said, is good as well. Green Bay, I don't want to talk shit, but I think they're the worst of the guys up there. I think the Bears are better than the Packers on those skill positions. Maybe, hopefully, we'll be better than Minnesota and Detroit, but we got to prove it. But I think on paper they're better than Green Bay.
Just that Justin Jefferson be catching balls from Sam Darnold.
Oh, that's right.
Well, it might be J.J. McCarthy. You never know.
Yeah, or JJ. I'd rather see. I mean, I think JJ is better than Sam Darnold, but Sam Darnold's a veteran, so he may edge out just knowing the NFL defensive tendencies and know the playbook a little bit better.
Yeah, I don't want to denigrate J.J. McCarthy because I think he will eventually be a good quarterback, but
I do too.
He's not ready to step in. If this guy steps in his rookie year and throws for 3,000 yards, beats Bears records, I will be fucking shocked.
Yeah,
shocked. Just because he wasn't asked to do any of that at Michigan. Primarily, he would hand off the ball 30 times a game, throw the ball 10 to 15 times a game. Some games I saw on the stat sheet that he threw under 10 times. Yeah. So, he's got a lot of learning to do, but he's got a good physical makeup. He's got a strong arm and a great attitude. So we'll see.
Yeah, he, for me, I watched, more than a few Michigan games. To me, what impressed me was that he never seemed to make the wrong decision. He made the right decision a lot, knew where to go with the ball, threw it away when he had to, didn't take, took the sack if he had to, tried to throw it away, always went to the right man. I know they didn't need to throw much because their offensive line was dominant. Their running game was dominant. They had Donovan Edwards and Blake Corum.
Oh, man.
Those two guys are both awesome running backs, and the offensive line just bullied everybody.
Yep. I happened to watch the combine when the running backs were running the 40-yard dash, and Blake Corum, man, you talk about a guy who lives in the weight room. Just shoulder muscles up to his ears.
Where did he go? Which team did he go to?
I know he was drafted. Let me see. I'll find out.
He went to the Chargers? The Rams? He went to the Rams.
How about the Chargers getting Xavier Worthy? Holy fuck. Yeah, he went to the Rams.
Worthy went to the Chiefs, though, didn't he? Or
that's what I meant. The
Chiefs.
The
okay,
Chiefs.
yeah.
Yes.
But
the fastest guy.
I know, but he's the same. He's basically the same player as Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, but
like
a lot
Worthy
of people
and
are saying
Hollywood Brown, they're both little, small. They're about the same size. They're slight. They're little guys, and they're super fast.
But they're banking that he's going to be their next Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, but Tyreek Hill's like 210 pounds.
He's solid. Yeah,
he's thick, right. Man. He's got big old thighs. I mean, Xavier Worthy is like 170 pounds.
That's a good point.
That's a good point. I mean, I like the pick. I mean, you can't coach speed like that. It's you got to be born with that. Dan's
been working out. He's getting thick like that too, right, Dan?
Oh yeah, I'm as fast as Cliff Branch. Speed kills.
What did Cliff Branch run? He ran like a 4.3, 4 something, and Biletnikoff was opposite him, right?
Yeah, Branch is like their Willie Gault.
Jeez.
He made the Hall of Fame after he died. He should have been in. Ken Stabler the same way.
Scrolls, yeah. Price of bacon. We're going to come out here to Iowa. We got the world's largest hog producers out here. We got 7 pigs for every Iowan.
Jesus.
You can still get bacon for $6 here a pound.
That is nice. See, all you got to do is go up and help him move. You can pick up some bacon.
I will cover you in bacon, Scrolls. You can make the drive.
I love it. All right, we got about a half hour left. We usually devote most of that time to talking about some of the stuff that we've seen on the boob tube.
Yeah.
I know Dan has seen quite a few things that he wanted to share with us. Why don't you take it away?
Oh, wow.
Dan?
Okay.
All right. First off, I could not believe how bad Straw Dogs was.
Oh, well, the
original
Dustin Hoffman.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, if we could go through this for a minute.
Yeah.
Sure.
So they have a rape scene that was supposedly so controversial. I'm watching it. The guy in the backstory, it's implied that they have fucked before. So he he beats her and then starts to have sex with her. And her response, even if like it's a lady who's like, I got to get this over with and just surrenders like for her own well-being, she starts caressing him and kissing him and rubbing him and things that I think a woman would not do. And then another guy comes in with a gun, and then she's reacting the way you would if you're being raped, you would think, screaming and saying no and all this. Okay, next scene. Dustin Hoffman comes in. She's chill, is acting like nothing happened, doesn't tell him anything, and never tells him the rest of the movie. So the rape is completely superfluous. There's no advancement in the story. I thought it was going to be like a revenge thing. Hoffman stands up for the woman. No, there's no fucking point to the rape at all. It's just to shock me. Next, there's a guy that David Warner from the original Omen plays a pervert. He tries to rape his woman. Dustin Hoffman walks in and just looks at him and shakes his head no. Doesn't say, you're trying to rape my woman, you motherfucker. Doesn't say, the dialogue makes no sense. And then at the end of the movie, Dustin Hoffman leaves with the guy that allegedly just tried to rape his woman and is like happy and taking him out. And he's like, I'm leaving her anyway, basically. And the movie goes off with them driving together hand in hand with a man that just tried to rape his woman. And at one point, all these rednecks are like tearing down his house, breaking all of his windows. And he's like, I will protect the sanctity of this house, which had nothing, like the dialogue made no sense. That's not what anyone would say when their house is completely under the gun. They're about to burn his house down. And the woman's like, do something, you bastard, and he's just, I will protect the sanctity of this house. The dialogue is terrible. The characters don't behave the way a character would react. The movie was dreadful. 15 stars down. Negative. And considering it's Dustin Hoffman, that's even worse because he's an actor who, especially when he's younger, was a great actor. For him to be a part of this shit, and he was as big a part of the problem with this film as anybody because he's carrying it. It's unequivocally shit.
Wow. Jeez, I didn't think it was
horrible. Fucking horrible. Like, I can't believe this was ever like acknowledged as a good film ever. It was complete and utter dog shit. It should have been called Dog Shit instead of Straw Dogs.
That's good. All right, let's just go around. Everyone take a turn. Tooch, what have you seen that you'd like to share?
Well, can you all tell me about Straw Dogs first? I wanted to see you all's opinion.
Well, I it's been a long time since I've seen it. So, because it was early 1970s, right? 70.
Yeah, 71, I think, is when it was filmed.
Okay. So there's not a lot I remember. But what I do remember is that it was a film early in Hoffman's career. Yeah. And it was also a film early in Hackman's career. So they teamed these two guys up. And I thought, if I remember correctly, I thought there was some good chemistry between them. It was sort of like an in cold blood kind of thing, but to be honest with you, I don't remember that much about it to give you a thorough analysis.
Good for you then.
Was it in Ireland or England?
No, it was in England. It was in England.
Yeah.
I watched a couple of the bonus features trying to see if there was something I was missing, and they were showing the places that they really were shot on location in England. It wasn't a set at all.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's like rural England, they kind of, like you said, like the Deliverance type, the locals.
I Am Sam with Sean Penn, right?
I Am Sam with Sean Penn, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't like that movie either. I think he's talking about Rain Man.
Rain Man,
yeah. That's probably it. Tooch, any other comments on Scarecrow before we move on?
Or Straw Dogs?
Straw Dogs.
I remember being disappointed when I had heard about the hype, and I watched it. I probably watched it in my 20s, just being like, this really isn't that good.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Danny brings it up and stuff, but yeah, I should have rewatched it. I forgot we're supposed to watch it. I could have watched it. I just forgot.
Yeah, I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch it again because I got the DVD, so I'm going to watch it. We'll talk more about it next week, man. Okay.
I watched the Bob Marley movie, the new one. It was really good. Enjoyed it. Love the music. Love the story.
That's
love
free on my services. I've been thinking about checking it out. Yeah.
I don't remember the name of it, but the name of the movie. But I never really thought about his story that much. But after I saw the movie, it was all about the message, getting the message out there. His music was the message.
One Love is the name of the movie. Bob Marley.
One Love. Yep. And getting it out there about his religion and his music, and no fighting, no war, no strife.
Is the chick hot? Because a movie like that always has a hot chick.
Yeah, there were some hotties in there. Yeah, of course.
Okay. Then I'll watch it.
Counts. Yep.
All right. Let me tell you about one that I saw. Reptile came out last year with Benicio del Toro.
I watched that.
Yeah. Is that a cop movie?
Yes, it is a police procedural. Del Toro is trying to figure out a crime made in a small town, and I won't. It's difficult to talk about without giving much of the plot, but it's a mystery, a murder mystery. So I'll just describe this. In the opening scene, Justin Timberlake and his girlfriend that he's been seeing for about 18 months.
Oh, yeah.
The only reason they haven't been married is because she's still married to somebody else, but separated. He comes to this home because they're real estate agents together. He comes to this home and finds her stabbed to death. Right. So the police try to figure out what happened. Justin Timberlake is quickly kind of ruled out because he's got a good alibi, and so they go on to other people. And during the investigation, Benicio del Toro kind of uncovers a big conspiracy going on, and it's difficult for him to come forward because
it's like Serpico a little bit.
Yes. Some of the people involved in this conspiracy may be some people that he's working with. So I thought it was a pretty good film.
Good.
Yeah. You guys,
it was good, Del Toro. Yep.
It was good to see Alicia Silverstone again. She was his lady. Was
beautiful looking in this movie.
Yeah, Del Toro's lady. And I like Benicio a lot. Yeah, going back to Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, he's Johnny Depp's attorney. Mm-hmm. And I just like him, man. I mean, I can't say I like every movie he's in. He was in Traffic. Remember that with Michael Douglas?
Mm-hmm.
He's the obviously the Mexican part of the cartel stuff. He's the officer down there.
Yep.
He's a really good actor, man. I enjoy his work.
Totally agree with you. He was in The Usual Suspects. I think that's where he made his big breakthrough. Did you guys ever see that?
I didn't really like that. That was Kevin Spacey, right?
Kevin Spacey was.
I like Kevin Spacey, but even in spite of all the stuff against him, I think he's a great actor. But I didn't like that movie. I thought it was dull. Yeah, Sicario. The second one was good too.
Yeah.
Del Toro is a good actor, and in Traffic, that was probably his best role ever. A great Steven Soderbergh movie with Michael Douglas, Benicio del Toro, and a bunch of other people. Dan, what else have you seen? You told me you and Nikki saw some stuff together.
We had watched that Dustin Hoffman movie together. We didn't like it. I'll tell you about another movie, but just to say real quickly, thank you, Nikki. I hate the American Horror Story season 12. We watched the finale. It was just complete dog shit. It was like Emma Roberts somehow, because Kim Kardashian's the big villain in this season. It was so bad. Say it again.
Can she act?
Yeah, I don't want to just hate on her and say she sucks because she's a Kardashian, but it seems like she's like a male transitioning. She looks and sounds like a male transitioning now. She's had so much work done. and her voice is like like this. It doesn't even sound feminine anymore. I don't know what she's done with that regard, but in the end, somehow it's like Emma Roberts says something that they were repeating, and it's like, you remember in Superman 2 when like Gene Hackman and Zod and all them are fooled, or they think Superman's given up his powers again, but he reverses it and takes Zod and them's powers away. It's sort of the ending of American Horror Story. They all think she's gone and she says some kind of spell or some shit, and everyone else perishes without any explanation, or maybe it just was so bad. I didn't even know nor do I care how she prevailed in the end. It was the worst. I like there's been 12 seasons and I like the first 11 for the most part. This was awful. The worst season of all time. It's just like, it should get canceled. That's how bad this was.
Are there some nice shots of Kardashian's butt?
I'm telling you, man, I don't want to sound like a hater, and I'm not anti-trans, I'm not anti-gay, but every time I saw her on this, she looked like a male transitioning to a female. I was not attracted to her at all. Not at all. And I watched her porn back in the day, just like everybody else. And I was like, God damn, if Ray J would shut up, I could come. But man, that does not look like her now. And it's not because she's older.
I've actually never seen it. Does she look good in that porn movie?
In the porn? Yeah. Well, see, Ray J, I can make you a copy, but like you don't really like physical media anymore. So, but in the porn, like, let's say you're like, oh man, that looks good. Ray J gets in the camera and he's like, hey, dog, if you're beating it at the house right now, go hard on this one. I'm like, well, my fucking erection's gone now. Thanks, Ray J. Why can't your sister be in this instead of you? That would come to.
Well, I think I'm going to watch the porn movie before American Horror Story.
American Horror Story. It's amazing. You remember the wrestler? She died. Her name was China.
Yeah, China Robinson.
You know how China sounded? I mean, she was a real life woman, but all this testosterone she took, I guess, it made her clit really big in her porn and stuff. And point being, you know how she sounded though? Can you hear China's voice in your head at all?
Yes.
How she still kind of sounded like a man.
Yeah.
Sort of looked like a man, even though she had a lot of work. And I don't mean to besmirch a poor lady that's dead, but I'm just saying that's the way Kim looks and sounds now. Very, very masculine. And again, I'm not hating on her. That's just my opinion. But we saw a movie at the theater I did like. I'm not going to tell you it was Godfather 2 or something, but it was good for what it was. It's called Abigail.
Horror movie.
Yeah, it's sort of a comedy, but sort of a horror movie. But it was, for the most part, it was well done. Like the first half of the film, it looked like they were doing special effects, like it was an 80s movie, like they were doing real effects. And by the second half of the movie, it's like, we'll just go to CGI and it'll look real fake and shitty. But for the most part, the effects look really good earlier in the film. Story wasn't terrible either. It was a fun film. It was okay. I could tell you what it was about if you wanted me to.
Yeah, give us a quick plot rundown.
So, and one of the guys from Euphoria that played the drug dealer Fesco was in it. The gentleman that died, Angus Cloud.
Yeah.
So there's a group of
he died. That's terrible.
Yeah, there's like 7 or 8 people that they kidnap a child that they call Tiny Dancer. She's a ballerina. She looks like she's 12, So they kidnap her, but they don't really know what the motive is. They're just there for money and just doing their job. They're not supposed to question who she is. But they start to talk and they figure out that she's the daughter of like a gangster, like a Tony Soprano type. And they're like, oh, fuck this. We have to get out of this. But as it turns, if I tell you it's a spoiler though, do you want me to tell you a spoiler? But it sets up everything. Even the trailer shows this though.
Okay, then go ahead.
The girl's actually a vampire.
Abigail.
Yeah, so the dad wants, like, if he has a beef with you, he'll like make it seem like, yeah, we're going to pay you to kidnap the girl. But the whole point is he gets his enemies in the house so his daughter can feed off of them. But I'll leave it at that. But it was a decent twist. But they showed that in the trailer too, that she was a vampire. So you kind of knew that going into it.
Movies like that, I like watching in the theater because the audience response is part of the enjoyment of B schlocky horror movies. If I'm going to watch a film where you got to, pay special attention to the plot because it's a heavy duty movie, I'd rather watch that at home. Unfortunately, it's reversed for me because at the theater, I easily get distracted by noises around me, and so I'll lose concentration. At home, I can totally concentrate on a movie. So I like being at horror movies in theaters or comedies where the crowd is part of the experience. You guys feel that way?
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes like it. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Anytime there's a really, really good movie that something I'm really want, like when Once Upon a Time in Hollywood came out or Dr. Sleep came out, movies that I was just like yearning to see for a long time. I love to watch them in the theater, even if it's a 3-hour film. Or when the one that Tooch hates, the DiCaprio Scorsese film. What was it called again? I can
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah. I love seeing that in the theater. And that's a 3.5-hour movie. I like seeing movies in the theater, even if it is, I need to concentrate. I just like the sound is loud. The screen is big. If you're at the house, someone might complain that the TV's too loud or speakers are too loud. She said that the theater, like Nikki says, there was only like 6 people in that movie.
This is your Nikki?
Yeah.
Why is she spelling it Nucky?
Fuck if I know. That's before I got back with her. I don't know.
Oh man, she was saying all these sexy things about you, and people in the chat are saying he's taken, Nucky. Scroll says the best movie while high is Enemy of the State. That's the one with Will Smith and Gene Hackman. Yeah.
The rumor about that is that Gene Hackman was playing his character from The Conversation in it.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, that would make sense.
Yeah, he's supposed to be playing the same character from The Conversation, and it just never was acknowledged for some reason, I guess for lawsuit purposes.
Mm-hmm. All right, Tooch, what have you seen?
Rennie Harlan is the director.
Yeah, Die Hard.
Yeah, I saw his latest movie. It's called The Bricklayer on Netflix.
Okay.
It's Aaron Eckhart and Clifton Collins.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good. Has a good twist. Had a lot of good fight scenes and gunfights and stuff. It's a CIA spy movie, with the kill list and stuff. And, Aaron Eckhart's like kind of semi-retired. He gets called out to track down the killer who used to be his partner. That's pretty good. Not bad. Tim Blake Nelson is in it too. From Oh Brother, We're Out Thou.
I never watched that.
Oh, you never saw that movie? That's a classic.
He was in that Tim guy was in Wonderland though, where Val Kilmer played John Holmes. I love that movie.
Okay, yeah, he was in the Ballad of Buster Scruggs too, which was really good on Netflix. If you ever saw that, it was really great.
Well, last night I started watching. I didn't finish it because this version is 3 hours long. Apocalypse Now Redux.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
When the original was released in 1979, just titled Apocalypse Now, I loved it. I swear to God, I went to downtown theaters probably a half dozen times to watch it, and then a couple of more times in suburban theaters. And I took different people. You got to watch this movie with me. And I'd be high while watching it. And my high school teacher at the time got me a reel-to-reel recording of the dialogue, of the monologue.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And which was later released on vinyl, but he was a projectionist at the time. It was a side job. And so he would audio record a lot of movie soundtracks and the monologue dialogue. So he gave me a copy of it. And I remember this because the monologue delivered by Martin Sheen, the voiceover narration, is so fucking good. I was being ferried up the coast in a Navy PBR, type of plastic.
Martin Sheen, right?
Pretty common sight along the rivers. Yeah. And so I'm watching this and really reliving this experience that I had as a teenager. And then catching, okay, that's an additional scene. I don't remember that scene. That's got to be an additional scene. So it's playing on Turner Classic Movies now. So if you've never seen the original or even this Redux version, I heartily recommend it. It's some of the best filmmaking you will ever see in your life. Really good stuff.
It's kind of Brando's last stand too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really like his last great film. I like that they utilize the Doors in it.
Oh gosh, the end starts the movie over a shot of a napalm attack at a jungle. It's just so
Robert Duvall's in it.
Robert Duvall. I'd love the smell of napalm in the morning. Smells like Victory.
I don't think it's as great as everybody thinks, but I think it's a very solid movie.
Oh yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like if we're going on 4 stars, I'm giving it 3. I'm not giving it 4, but I'm definitely giving it 3.
Lawrence Fishburne was 17, I think, or 18 years old in that movie.
Lawrence Fishburne was 16 or 17.
Yeah, it was really
I got
young.
one for you.
Yeah.
Aldo and I were talking about before we went on air. See if you've seen it. I had never even heard of this movie. And it turns out it was the one that apparently made Morgan Freeman sort of a viable actor. He's playing a pimp, and it's like legit, man. He's young and he's very good. He's volatile in it. Christopher Reeve is the kind of the good guy, but he sleeps with prostitutes though. It's called Street Smart or Street Smarts from '87. God, that was so good.
I never saw it. I gotta check it out. Yeah, I never heard of
Morgan
it.
Freeman is excellent in it. If you look at the Wikipedia, it says it's the film that gave him notoriety because he did Lean on Me right after that. Then suddenly he's kind of Unforgiven, and then he's a star.
Yep.
Now that movie, one of the reasons I remember it well is because of the performance by Kathy Baker.
Yeah, she's the hooker in it.
Oh my gosh, so sexy.
I never saw
And Mimi Rogers is in it too.
And Mimi Rogers, yeah. Back then, what year was that?
87.
87? Yeah, back then I was snorting coke and walking around horny with an erection all the time. So any movie that offered hot chicks, I'll never forget them. It's just something that I'll never forget. So
yeah, they were hot.
That's a good movie.
Morgan Freeman was excellent as the bad guy pimp, a woman abuser. Like now you think, oh, Morgan Freeman's like old and he's cuddly and he does voiceovers and he seems like a great guy and he seems like a statesman, but God, when you see him on this, you forget all about who he become later. He really sucks you in as just this villainous piece of shit woman beater, pimp. He's so good in it.
You want to hear something funny, Mr. Dan Aguirre?
Sure.
That movie, Street Smart, is directed by the same director who did the 1973 Scarecrow.
Oh, the Gene Hackman Al Pacino movie.
Yes. Isn't that wild?
That is cool, man. That is
Who's
cool.
the director?
Jerry Schatzberg. Yeah. Because we've talked about Scarecrow before, haven't we?
Yeah. And my favorite story about it, and if Tooch doesn't know it, I'll tell it now then, is that I've heard Al talk about it. And he said, man, Gene Hackman's a great actor. And I just pissed him off. I rubbed him wrong. He's like, we have 2 different styles. He said, before action, I'm pacing, I'm saying my lines, I'm trying to work up my energy. And Gene just standing there like, shut the fuck up. You're killing me. Like Gene does not want to talk. He doesn't want to rehearse with you. When he says go, it's go time, but he just stands there stoic. And Al says, I'm pacing, I'm practicing, and I know we had no chemistry whatsoever. He's like, he has my respect as a man and as an actor, but I know he hates me.
That reminds me of a conversation I had with my wife today.
Oh my God.
I was stoic and thinking, okay, well, how long is this going to happen? I got to get back to work. No, I love my wife. It's too bad she doesn't love me back. Mo Beerman says, I was a member of the Sticky Force Club. There was a porno movie house in Chicago in the late 70s called the Cine Stage. It was on Dearborn and Lake Street, right next to the railroad tracks there. And so when I got a job downtown, and I was 19 years old at the time, I was like, holy shit. I wonder if I can sneak into this porno movie house. I must have gone in there a half dozen times and saw movies with 70s great porn stars. I can't think of any of the names now, like Vanessa Del Rio and stuff like that. But yeah,
Good Bush.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, a lot of sticky floors back then. But I did not add to the stickiness. Can't do that. I just would never cross my mind to take my dick out and masturbate in public. It's just not gonna happen.
It killed Paul Rubens' career, for God's sake.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
L.A. theater, right?
Yeah, after Paul Rubens got busted, the masturbating in theaters graph went down. He went second thoughts, you know.
Yes.
They got Pee Wee's Playhouse canceled.
King Booker World says Morgan Freeman is the reason I know the word expeditiously. I wish
God, we mentioned Morgan Freeman and Gene Hackman. They were so great together in Unforgiven.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. That's a movie I want to see again.
Yeah.
The Clint Eastwood directed
Yep.
Unforgiven. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, great movie. Little Bill.
Yeah, that's Gene Hackman. Again, he, in some scenes you think, oh, he's an admirable man, but just what he becomes the out and out villain at the end, though.
Yeah.
So
I do want to share one other thing that I watched, and it'll lead into a little bit of news that I want to share with our audience. Is last night I was watching American Idol. My wife and I like to watch it because it's it's a singing competition. Some people are bad.
Where can you watch it now, though? I was like, I haven't.
It's on ABC. Right
it's season 209.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's ABC is on which one of the streaming services live?
I think it's Hulu.
Is it Hulu? Yeah, I think
I'm
it's
pretty
Hulu.
sure it's
yeah,
Hulu.
yeah, yep.
So we're watching it, and my wife is tearing up because they do a great job now of giving backstory to the singers. My mom died when I was, so it gets very emotional. My wife cries at the drop of a hat.
Yep.
But this one guy came out, and it was one of those nights where the three judges suggest songs for the singer, and this one guy selects the Willie Nelson song, "For All the Girls I Loved Before." And I'm thinking to myself, oh, why is he going to sing this? I heard it a million times. So that motherfucker went out there, he started singing this song, and I started thinking about my daughter, and I started fucking crying. And so I went to leave her a message, and there was a message from her a couple of days ago that because I was working on the NFL draft and stuff, I totally missed. She asked, can you and Donna come over this Sunday? We'd love to cook out for you. And I fucking missed it. And so now I'm really getting emotional and thinking to myself, I don't want to be one of these guys that's remembered, could have spent some more time with his daughter, So because of that, I've told Tooch and Dan, and because I also want to spend a lot more time with my wife, I'm going to take the next few weeks off. I'm going to do one more show next Tuesday and then take, 3, 4, 5, 6 shows off just to spend some time with my wife and my daughter and my grandchild and my son-in-law and some other very important people in my life. So the reason I'm really, really thrilled about it is because I trust Dan and Tooch so much to give you some outstanding talk radio, talk podcast, whatever you want to call this format that we are.
Yeah.
And these two guys have established a nice chemistry together, and I know they're going to bring in some good guests, and I've got some ideas on guests for them as well. So it's going to be a good time for everyone, for myself and for you guys in the audience, and for Dan and the Tooch. That's my speech.
Do my best.
The pressure's on.
Pressure's on.
Dan, are you crying?
No. I mean, I'm happy for you. I am. I wish you were here with us selfishly, but I understand the reason that you want to take the time off, and I applaud you for that and wish you well, of course. I think the schedule is going to drop on May 9th. So I hate that you'll be gone for that, but
well, maybe I'll stop in.
Or send us record a video during the day or something.
Yeah, I think the main part for me, the challenge of this show is that Tuesday night is a good night for my wife and I to be together, and so that happens. The show interferes with that, but she loves it when she knows how much this show and the Barroom Network mean to me. And so my wife is great in terms of giving me the leash.
American Idol Tuesday nights?
It's usually Sunday nights, but like
Sunday,
this week they had Sunday and Monday. They're getting into the last. I think there's 8 contestants left too. So
there's been a lot of stars that show made. Carrie Underwood.
Oh my gosh, yes. J2K says we'll be here waiting for Douche's.
Might be waiting a while, J2K. I don't know. I'll put some
All right,
Rogaine
guys.
here.
Any final words before we close this episode?
Yeah, man. I got to hand it to Aldo and all the gang who put together draft week, because, man, it was a lot of work and it was great. It was some great content. I mean, I probably listened to all of it, whether I was working around the house or doing whatever. Had an earbud in one ear and working, whatever. But the content, a lot of hard work from all the content creators at the BARROOM Network, from Aldo to Greg Gabriel to Danny Shimon to Jordan Silvera. I mean, they really hit it out of the park.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, and that leads me to, on Thursday, I'm editing together the reaction from everyone that was on camera to the draft picks. So I think I mentioned this at the top of the show. You know, it was 8, 10, 14 hours of broadcasting. So I'm cutting it all together into a 1-hour show with some comments by myself in between, so that everyone can get a taste of the great job that Jordan, Danny, Tooch, and John Buffon and everybody else did. So hope you will enjoy that Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, Saturday was a lot of fun. It's the first time I'd ever been on with Greg Gabriel. I was a little intimidated. I thought he was getting mad at me or something. You know,
fuck you, dude.
No. One time I was like, he was mad when the Bears only got like a 6th-round pick for Justin Fields, and I was like, I tweeted at him, well, it's like trading him for a practice squad punter. He laughed. I mean, he liked my tweet, but then I was like, that guy was busting him on his internet connection in the chat room.
You were,
yes. It was like, Greg's dog has better internet connection than Greg.
That's right.
I couldn't resist. I know I'm a smart ass and shit.
You are a smart ass. That's why I love you. Mo Bierman says, Tooch, just touch up that mustache with the Sharpie.
I thought about it. Seriously, I got a Sharpie right here. I was like, I should color it in. I don't know. Maybe I have one of my girls colored in.
There you go. Dan, what do you got for us?
I can't believe, Jordan, I mean, how do you, it's one thing if you go from I'm a Bears fan, but maybe you like the Raiders or something in the AFC, like so completely far away from the Bears, but to go from the Bears to the Vikings, like I
hashed it out with him too on Saturday, although when you were here, I was like, well, Jordan kind of, he's like an whole of the NFL commentator. You know, so I kind of get it, you know. And I
don't get it. You can't be a Bears fan and then go to one of their rivals.
Right. But
you need Vince McMahon to come in and say you're fired and
like
kicked out of the barroom.
How old is Jordan? He's what, 30?
I think he's late 20s, early 30s. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he's like Generation Z. They're so fucking fickle. You know, it's like, you know, if people told him, if he ate ham sandwich his whole life, the next day someone told him turkey was good, he'd eat turkey. You know, but we hashed out with him. It's like, I mean, I've rooted for teams when I had money on them. You know, it's like,
yeah, but you can't become the Bears' divisional opponent. Unless you were never a Bears fan anyway.
Yeah, which is probably, you know, like Gen Z, they don't have a lot of loyalty, you know. But, I for me, it's like, I kind of like the Steelers.
There's nothing good about children. Can we say that now? If you were born in the 2000s, you just suck.
The Steelers kind of feel like AFC Bears to me a little bit, you know. So I kind of sometimes, and they're a very well-run organization. The only thing is, like, I've kind of liked them less since Omar Khan's been fleecing us for trades and stuff. Yeah. But if I were to root for an AFC team, it'd probably be the Steelers.
Yeah. You know, I think that Jordan is he just loves the NFL so much, and he doesn't want to get attached to any team. I think he's attached more to the science of the game, schemes and stuff. But
he presented himself as a Bears fan.
Yes.
He presented himself as a Bears fan.
Yeah.
I think he was for a while.
God, for a while. God.
Yeah.
It's like saying I liked women for a while, but now I like a little dick.
See, I don't subscribe to that theory of fandom, but anybody can be a fan however they want, you know?
Okay.
That's the liberal point of view.
Well, I agree, but don't you think to go to the division rival, That's as bad as Fat Mike saying I love the Bears, but I love my Brett Favre Packers jersey.
Well, you know what's hilarious? It was. I'll show you this on Thursday. There's a part when of our draft coverage when the Bears draft Odunze. Jordan is gushing over the pick and saying, I'm a Vikings fan if they pick JJ, but I might have to rethink that. And he's just gushing over Ryan Poles and how he's transformed. And I'm thinking to myself, I wasn't on camera then. I'm thinking to myself, that motherfucker's going to be a Bears fan again.
Yeah, of course. Ryan Poles did an admirable job in this.
So whoever wins next season, he's going to just jump on a bandwagon.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, if he's on the fucking fence here or there, it just seems like he's going to jump on whoever's winning.
Well, he's jumping on a bandwagon of a team that's going to be last in the NFC North. So,
well, then he'll come back and be like, "Oh, it's because Rome is the reason I've come back to the Bears," or maybe Minnesota is balling and we're disappointments. That's happened so many times before. I'm belaboring the point, but I was just like disgusted by it.
There's some debate as Jordan's age. I think he's 29. I want to say
late 30s.
No.
I can't believe that. Muck says that he thinks he's in his late 30s.
I think he just turned 30.
The funniest thing I've ever heard with Jordan, and I got to go, but it's when Nomad was on, and I don't know, he was talking shit to me about something. Not Nomad, but Jordan. And Nomad jumped in and said, Jordan, you need to shut up wearing your church clothes on the air. I don't know why I thought that was so funny.
That is funny.
Where we talking? Nomad was in the chat room, and Aldo and I were talking with Jordan Silvera, and I can't remember which player we were talking about, but he had like 7 felony arrests. Do you remember? And Jordan was defending the 7 felony arrests. He always a good player and stuff, and I'm like, we're all about 8th chances here, giving people 8 with the Bears.
I forgot about that.
I can't remember who was the player. I can't remember who had the felony arrests with the Bears.
We need a website that keeps track of that stuff. That could make some money. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Dan, you ready to go protect some lives?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm headed that way.
All right, fellas. Later, Daddy.
All right, you all have a good night.
All right, take care, everyone. We'll be back here. By the way, special time for Gabriel Talks Football at 10:30 tomorrow, and we'll reveal why on the air. I don't want to give it away, but I'll tell you this. Greg is a great guy. He really is. He's doing something very nice for somebody tomorrow, which is why we're starting at 10:30 as opposed to 11. So with that, we'll announce the other barroom stuff on tomorrow morning's show. Thank you all for being with us. Tooch, I love you. Dan, I love you too.
I'm out of here.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Hey, they're gone. Dan and Tooch are gone. I'm going to do another 3 hours. No, I'm just kidding. I just forgot to push the button to end the stream. I love Jordan, by the way. So, I love Jordan's take on stuff because he isn't a passionate Bears fan like Dan and I are. He's got a detached view. And so that's cool. But we'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully you can join us for Gabriel